studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. I am Gabe Kuhn. My partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. His name, Brett Stats Norsworthy. Brett, hello.
Doing great, Gabe. Hello, how are you?
I am doing well. Producing the program, Go Tigers 247 writer, Bryant Dacus. Bryant, hello.
Hey there, fellows. We had a great night of sports last night, but an even better tennis match late last night.
Between who? Between who?
Rafael Nadal and Denis Shapovalov.
Did you win your bet?
I did. Me and
That's
Jay
what
Morgan
made it great.
Me and Jay Morgan were watching it together. We were texting back and forth the whole time. It was just a great night all around.
I am glad to hear
Tennessee
that.
Red Line 180.
Hey, making money is better than losing money. There's no
Exactly.
question.
12-0 yesterday.
12. Excuse me?
12-0 yesterday.
All like separate betting slips.
Yes.
12-0.
12-0.
You better give out some picks at the end of the show, sir. My gosh.
Man,
And
12-0.
12, and I think I don't know if it's more shocking 12-0 or that he had 12 separate betting slips. That's impressive. That's impressive in one night.
Thank you.
And if you had lost them, you could wallpaper your bathroom with them all.
That's very true.
Well, you'd have to print them out, I'm pretty sure. You do online, right?
I definitely do online.
You ain't going to Arkansas or
No, I can't.
Mississippi
I can't.
to print out
For
tickets.
12 different ones, I can't be doing all that driving back and forth. That'd be a lot
Gabe,
of gas.
you know what
for me.
Brian actually asked me before we went on
What
that?
did-
I didn't
What?
ask you that.
What did he ask you?
Let's correct
Darian did and
ourselves.
said, Darian Newsom, our friend, did and said you referenced that I did not know who Meatloaf was.
I don't know who Meatloaf is, so I just assume nobody knows who Meatloaf is. It's one of my
I knew who
flaws.
Meat was.
What's wrong? I like meatloaf.
Not the food, Gabe.
I know.
Do you know who
Meat's no longer
Meatloaf
with
is, the
us.
singer?
Yeah, I know meatloaf.
I have no idea.
I
who
don't.
he is.
I don't know the music. I know who Meatloaf is.
I know he's
though.
not. I do know he's not with us anymore, but I was not familiar with his work.
Yeah. All right. Well, first off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. We have plenty to get to today. As Bryant mentioned, we had a lot of good sports last night. College basketball, though, we had a classic. It was a Monday night matchup in Fog Allen between Texas Tech and Kansas. Kansas pulled that one out in 2 OT. It was unbelievable to watch from start to finish. Mark Adams really has Texas Tech playing really well this year.
65-year-old Mark Adams.
And he first real breakthrough, and he looks fantastic in that role.
Well, I can remember him at Texas Pan American, not being very good a long time ago.
Yeah.
But a lot since then in getting back to a head coaching job.
We will certainly get to that. No Grizzlies until tomorrow night, but there is plenty of NBA headlines. AD set to make his return to the Lakers lineup tonight. James Harden reportedly frustrated with the Nets and the situation they have going on, and we, believe it or not, are on Ja Morant All-Star starter watch at this point. The rosters will be announced on Thursday, and Ja is second in the West in the backcourt behind Steph Curry. So it's looking very good as far as a fan vote is concerned. Also, we have a bunch of NFL news to get to. Coaching news, Tom Brady news, Aaron Rodgers news, among plenty more. And my top story today will have to do with the coaching news. Just a bomb dropped this morning. Not anything that we didn't really expect. It had sort of been hinted at this week, but a guy that is going to move on that I don't think anybody in Saints country expected to move on in Sean Payton.
Gabe, when I was in New Orleans, went to the Monday Night Football game between the Dolphins and the Saints, and just one of the uglier games of all time. The Ian Book game will
Right.
always be remembered
The Ian
as.
Book.
Leaving the Dome that night, I didn't think 5 weeks later we'd be talking about Sean Payton out.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like some Saints fans thought it was coming. I didn't necessarily see it coming until the Gail Benson. Obviously, their owner, Gail Benson, went on and had an interview yesterday talking
The
about
mean old
saying,
stepmom, Gail Benson.
saying, I have no idea what Sean's plans are. He's obviously contracted through 2024, but he steps away a little bit early. As far as our rundown is concerned, top and not top at the bottom of this segment, 3:30, bottom of the hour. Dave Voloshin joins us, voice of the Tigers. We'll talk Tiger basketball, among other things. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard joins us to talk some college football and college basketball. 4:30, we bring on Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian, obviously the beat reporter for the Grizzlies. We will discuss Grizzlies with him. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant joins us on the NFL. 5:45, we get out with Taco Bell Crunch Time. AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. You can also watch us live and message us on our social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com, our beautiful website. Now, Brett, I texted you about this. I spent my morning listening to Let's Go, the podcast with Jim Gray and Tom Brady. It was an experience. I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill, right? You listen to what some of the things are being reported around Tom Brady and possibly moving on from the game, moving on from the NFL, moving on from the Bucs with 1 year remaining on his contract. He didn't really say anything that he hasn't said in the past.
Yeah, just an examination of where he is.
Yeah, he just said, well, the family's going to play a big role in it. He said that before. I mean, every single year, if you're 44 going on 45, we're going to have these discussions about you possibly moving on. And I didn't hear anything actually listening to the thing from start to finish. I didn't hear anything that led me to believe that he is completely all out and done after what he did this year and leading the league and passing TDs and passing outs. The one thing, though, Jim Gray's hilarious. Jim Gray loves him some Tom Brady, Brad.
He loves Tommy.
My
he loves
Lord.
Tommy.
Oh,
He
was given, when they were doing an examination of the game, he was giving Tom you would have thought that the Bucs were the Detroit Lions and Tom Brady had willed them into the divisional round. He was saying, well, they were decimated. They had nobody left. Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin gone. The defense, their first game playing together all year.
Brady didn't go for the excuses, though, did
he? He shut them down. The one thing that was interesting to me, he was mad at is it Sean Hockley, Ed Hockley's son, who called the personal foul on him?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Sean. I think I'd have to get somebody, but Ed Hockley's son was the referee who threw
son of guns.
Yeah, threw the unsportsmanlike. He didn't have the guns of Ed though. I don't know if anybody can measure up to Ed in the bicep category.
Well, and cut your sleeves off right at the shoulder too.
Yeah, well he wore mediums his whole career.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like a big guy though. I mean he was by the end of his career though, his knees weren't holding up all that well.
I didn't know Guns Hockley had a kid out there.
Yeah, but that's who threw the flag, the unsportsmanlike flag on Tom Brady for disputing the roughing the pass or non-roughing the passer call. He
cursed him, didn't he?
Yeah, well, Tom Brady said he didn't. He said, I didn't use a curse word, I promise. Okay, Tom, I don't believe you, but okay. Either way,
fat lip out of it.
Either way, Jim Gray and Tom, that was the only thing they discussed where they thought that Tom got the bad end of the stick. They thought that he was unfairly treated in that moment.
Jim Gray, for years on this radio station on Monday Night Football on the Westwood One broadcast, you could hear the halftime that Jim Gray would do with Tom Brady. It was sponsored, but you could tell they had a really good esprit de corps with each other. And on the Mondays that Tom Brady was playing and couldn't join, the last couple of years, Giselle joined. And I would often listen to listen to Tom Brady and Jim Gray on Monday nights on our station because I like that. And then I thought it was really good of them. Jim Gray is a great guy. I miss him on Westwood. I miss him a lot. He's been on this show. He's been on this station quite a bit. Very kind to us at Super Bowls with his time as part of the Westwood One Talent Group. I miss him. I have enjoyed Rich Eisen this year, but the standout voice literally of Westwood, and I think the best voice in broadcasting today, and it's Red Zone's channel as well, Scott Graham.
Yeah, Scott Graham does a really good job. Yes, he does have the premier sort of recognizable voice at this moment.
It's not too over the top. It's not. It's natural, but it's great.
Yeah, but the podcast. Back to the podcast, Brett. This just seems like a whole lot to be made of nothing.
Yeah, it's what we
do.
Undefeated looks like, Gabe.
When we talk about Tom Brady, we're always going to do that. We're going to make Mount Everest.
It's what the loss. It's what the sports autopsy looks like. We do this.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing that I found worth noting in the entire thing was Tom Brady said he is not interested in any type of farewell tour, so to speak. The Ben Roethlisberger, this is my last year, this is my last go-around thing. He says he will not do it. He said it's too distracting, and he feels like he wouldn't be getting enough out of it and giving enough to his team.
Gabe, I'm telling you, man, I love you. One of the great segues ever. A goodbye is hard, whether it's the coach doing it or it's the veteran player, and you want to have that moment, the rocking chairs from town to town that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got. The great goodbye that Kobe had, and I wear it especially now with the very sad loss of Kobe Bryant. I'm glad I was at FedEx Forum the last night. He came through Memphis February of 2010, 17, whatever year it was. I promise you in my notes today, one of the saddest things about this encroachment, this longer NFL season, this gobbling up more of the Sports Center stage, and now the double whammy of soon as the Super Bowl's over, we go to torchlighting in Beijing and have 3 weeks of Olympics gobbling up the stage. That in normal times the spotlight would be being shined on college basketball. We're not enjoying collectively. I know they are. I know Duke fans are, but we're not enjoying collectively the goodbye to Mike Krzyzewski at all, and that's a shame.
That is a good point. Hopefully toward the end of the year, once we get into March Madness, we can enjoy it a little more. But
now, it will be the story at the tournament.
Yes, but
every game could be his last one.
Yes, but we're talking about a full season of a farewell tour, and I agree with you. We have not really gotten to turn our full attention to college basketball yet. I think last night really. I would want to see the numbers on it. I would want to see the numbers on it, of course. But I would imagine that Kansas-Texas Tech game got some good numbers.
Last night was the first Monday night since Labor Day night, Ole Miss and Louisville, there hadn't been some kind of football on Monday night.
Yeah, and just to sort of going alongside these college basketball games on Saturdays and Sundays is the NFL playoffs. And the divisional round, I sent this to you before the show, Brett. NFL playoffs for the divisional round. 4 games averaged 38.2 million viewers, which resulted in a duplicated total of 152 million or over 152 million. That ranks as the highest divisional round average on record, just like we sort of expected with how good the games were, with the timing of everything. We sort of knew that the numbers would look like this.
Gabe, in digging into those numbers, the percentage increase over last year's great numbers that you could live with year in and year out, the number of viewers added to this year's audience swallows up. It's bigger than the NBA Finals total viewership.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely unbelievable what the NFL does. And I saw, and back to your point about taking up our time, taking our attention away from college basketball, I found myself back and forth I didn't miss a second of the NFL games on Sunday. When it came to the Tigers, though, different conversation. I missed plenty of seconds of the Tigers game trying to watch the NFL.
Yeah, and I simply justify it by I have until at least March for Tigers, and at least to the first Monday of April for college basketball, and at least until middle of June for the NBA. My football clock is ticking.
Yes. I am. It's going to be interesting, though, without MLB, what's going to take up our attention once we get into
the USFL.
Yeah. Not really. Once we get to the end of February, into March, when they're supposed to be reporting for spring training, it's going to be interesting what we're talking about. If we don't
have baseball, I have a little better feeling than I've had the last few days. At least they're talking.
Yeah, I guess. Talking with them just doesn't, I just hate how that's the minimum expectation. It's not agreeing on anything. It's not having any type of, back and forth and sort of giving in to each other's demands. It's never that. It's just, they're talking. That's a great thing. They're talking.
It'll take about another month for it to really matter. We got to have a deadline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got to get to Feb 26th, 27th, 1st of March.
They're talking right as we speak, correct?
No.
Supposed to be.
No, it's done.
It's done.
Oh, it's done?
They just got out of it?
Yeah. Initial reports aren't great. They're talking. They agreed on a couple things-ish, but they're still way off on some numbers. So not great.
You know what? That is
terrible.
That is just the best way I've ever heard it put, Bryant. They're agreeing on a couple of things-ish.
Yeah.
So they're not agreeing on anything.
Well, so here's what I saw today. This was from Evan Drelich from The Athletic. He said MLB proposed today to raise the minimum salary for players with 0 to 1 year of service time to $615,000. Previously, they had proposed $600,000, so that's improved. No changes to 1 to 2 years or 2 to 3 years. MLB also withdrew its proposal to eliminate salary arbitrations for any group. They also proposed a $10 million bonus pool for pre-arbitration eligible players, but the union, they want that pool at $105 million. So they're way off on that number.
Yes, it's just a bunch of technical terms that they're going to go
That doesn't
to
make me
war
book
over.
hotel rooms for me in St.
No.
Louis.
No, absolutely
Not at all.
No. Don't book anything until you know that the season's
I'm holding
rolling.
way
Oh, my
off
gosh.
on that. This hour of our show, indeed, brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis. They are at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. You'll drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in our area. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
And that's Sean Payton stepping away from the Saints. Mid-season, there was no way you thought this was going to happen. We know the Saints have a bunch of issues as far as their salary cap. There's $71 million in the hole. They found a way to sign Jameis Winston in the offseason. They thought they were going to go into this season, possibly be a playoff team, possibly compete. The ACL injury to Jameis was a killer for this season, at least. But I don't think anyone thought for a second during this season that Sean Payton was going to be anywhere else at the beginning of next year besides New Orleans. He's under contract through 2024, 58 years old. And we thought earlier this week, we got hints that he may be doing this when Saints owner Gail Benson made clear yesterday that she didn't know his plans. Now we know them. There's no question about it. But 152-89 in 15 seasons with the Saints, 9-8 in the playoffs, 9 10-plus win seasons in 15 years, the Super Bowl. You just wonder where they turn to next. The Drew Brees, Sean Payton era in Saintsland, in New Orleans, is over.
That's it, Gabe. That is it. And this is what it looks like when the greatest player in franchise history, he's been done for a year, and now moving on from Sean Payton. You know what's going to be the next great era of New Orleans Saints football?
What?
The Arch Manning era.
Okay. We got a little bit till then.
When he comes home to save the Saints, my top story, Andy Reid will go to his 4th Super Bowl with a win on Sunday. Zach Taylor would be going to his first. Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay, whomever wins that game on Saturday on the NFC side, they'll be going to their 2nd Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes will be going to his 3rd. For Joe Burrow, he would be going to his 1st. Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe the most unlikely 2nd Super Bowl appearance in the history of the game. And Matthew Stafford, kind of unlikely for him, too, with the long-awaited 1st Super Bowl for him.
Yeah.
Great matchup Sunday.
Yes. Fantastic. By the way, I texted you this morning. I picked Chiefs-Rams as my Super Bowl.
Yes, you did.
And I had the Rams winning, so we'll see what happens.
Yes, you did. And my exact quote was, the old Governor's Cup matchup in preseason back in Missouri.
Yeah. That's the reason I could never switch my allegiances to the Chiefs, because I went there as a Rams fan, and they used to just infest the damn Edward Jones Dome. They used to be. Hate to say it, they were annoying. They were annoying when they came to St. Louis. That's as simple as I can put it.
Not top story of the day.
We talk about MLB and the MLB Players Association and their battles back and forth, but I think the bigger story today is the Hall of Fame voting. We'll know
Getting
the Hall of
close,
Fame
5 o'clock.
finalists at 5 o'clock, and I thought Jeff Passan, and of course I think he's a fantastic reporter.
I do too.
ESPN.
I think he's the Woj of baseball.
Yes. He wrote a piece about Barry Bonds and the Hall of Fame. And Barry Bonds, to this point, has only gotten 61% of the 75% he needs to be a Hall of Famer. He wrote a piece this morning that I thought sort of explains how I feel. And obviously, this is the last ballot that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens can be involved on until they'd have to be voted in by a Veterans Committee, which I don't think at this point, with who's on the Veterans Committee, they would get the 12 of 16 needed. We'll know at 5 p.m. We'll see.
Because those people have lived a perfect life, and they're not going to vote
Right.
for anybody that used steroids.
Exactly. Even though in the past we have voted in people with terrible past.
Drunks, spousal abusers.
Yes. Everything.
Yeah,
Drug
everything.
users, everything. But Jeff Passan's piece today, if you get a chance to go read it on ESPN.com, I would suggest go do it, because it was about the Hall of Fame, and it focuses on their mission, and this is what their mission is. The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum's mission is to preserve history, which is what we seek to do throughout the museum. Barry Bonds leads the MLB's history in home runs, in single-season home runs, in walks.
And was a great left fielder and a great base runner.
Was one of the best players in history with on-base percentage. He has so much to do with the history of baseball. We can't deny it. And this is the point that he made that really resonated with me. Not only do we have steroid-using players in Pudge Rodriguez, Jeff Bagwell, Mike Piazza. We have guys in already who have been accused of using PEDs. But he brought up Bud Selig. Bud Selig got voted in by the Veterans Committee, and Bud Selig is the one who oversaw the steroid era. Didn't do anything about it.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Didn't do anything about it. It saved the
Sit by and sold tickets.
Brett, as much as we talk about how it was not a
Band-Aid, Bud.
It was not a honest way of doing business at that time. It was what saved baseball. The long ball, hitting 60 home runs. The summer of Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire.
Summer of Love, 98.
Right? It's part of history. And I think
opening up gates early for people to come in and watch batting practice.
I really do think leaving
selling $10 beers to do it.
I really do think leaving out Barry Bonds leaves out a part of history that we need to remember. Can you remember him for the bad too? Yes. You can remember him for the good and bad, like we always have with the MLB Hall of Fame.
Of course. Like we remember Ty Cobb. You know, I hate to tell older Cardinal fans, Dizzy Dean was not a perfect guy. Mm-hmm. He was a pretty big rascal in the day. I agree with you so much. My time, was that a period?
You go ahead. Yep, that was
okay.
A period.
All right. I thought it might have been a semicolon. I didn't want to interrupt you. My top
semicolons.
story. Baseball talks and Hall of Fame voters vote. Baseball should be locked in a room until a deal is made or until they beat the ever-living hell out of each other. Make them go inside a room, and literally, if you hear somebody screaming for help, don't open to the door until they pass a note under the door and say, deadbolt on both sides until we have a deal with a note passed under. And then if you open it up and it's depravity we can't imagine, blood spilled everywhere, then fine, we got a deal. And we move right on. And then the Hall of Fame voters. I hope they're reminded that you're voting on a building in Cooperstown, New York, not the pearly gates, not heaven, not Gabriel, not Gabriel Kuhn or Gabriel blowing his horn in heaven welcoming anybody. This is not heaven. We've let in drunks. We've let in louts. We've let in racists. We've let in spousal abusers. I'm ready to declare it's time for Peter Edward Rose to be in the Hall of Fame as well. And I've never been for that. If for no other reason, how he did Bart Giamatti in the investigation. But what the heck? If he bet a 16 parlay on the Reds, I don't care. He was the best switch hitter ever.
I'm still a little bit of ways on Pete Rose. Certainly shoeless Joe Jackson, that can't happen. But
it took a while.
But Barry Bonds and Pete
Let's
Rose.
buy Joe Jackson some shoes. Come on, let's let him in.
Let's do it.
But Pete Rose certainly has his place in the history of baseball. And it needs to be recognized. That'll do it for our top.
Have you ever known a Baseball Hall of Fame voter? I've only known one in my life.
Have not.
I don't. He used to be in this market. I don't know if he still is or not. But I'm not kidding you. I don't know what was more arrogant, him or the idea that he was a Hall of Fame voter, because he took it literally like he was voting somebody into heaven.
Yeah, that'll do it for our top and our not top story of the day. A lot of them are just so.
It's a very prestigious club.
Well, they act like they are just the best people morally. They act like they've never done any wrong. They don't take, and also with Barry Bonds especially, take into account the era we're talking about. Everybody was on steroids. Everybody was jabbing a needle into their backside. Like it's not.
And if not everybody was in doubt. Yes, there were some. I think Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the probably the cleanest. There was some.
There was a lot. There was a lot.
Everybody was in doubt over the last 30 years. Certainly the 21st century, Gabe. That we've had some question around everybody. I mean, the bullpen catchers were juiced up.
Mm-hmm. Now, in other news, I was on TikTok yesterday. I made a TikTok account.
Good for you, Gabe.
I have to admit it.
Good for you.
When do I get to dance on it?
Oh, we got to set you up an account.
What song? What do you want to dance? What TikTok dance are you doing, Brett?
We'll
what
find
a feeling
one
from Flashdance.
Okay.
What do you think, man?
Okay.
But there was a video I saw last night. I came across last night, and Brian came across the same video as well. TikTok video of the Bills chief streaker.
Well,
I didn't know he was naked.
not a streaker.
Well, not okay. I
Just
take
a
back streaker. The
field
guy who
runner.
ran on the field, but I say streaker because he ran on the field.
Interrupter.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I didn't know he was out there just letting it all hang out.
No. He was fully dressed.
He was
so
fully dressed.
Streaker
And fully
probably
drunk.
is certainly the wrong way to put it. But they have a video of him and his friend daring him. He earned $1,000 for that.
$1,000.
I said $1,000 yesterday.
And
You
Brett,
did?
contrary to popular belief, contrary to what you wanted to happen, his jaw is not broken.
No, sadly.
Anything
Shucks.
broken?
I don't know.
Maybe
his pride.
spirit.
How'd
I
he
don't
roll
know.
into work Monday? Or maybe had to miss, still at the jug, not bailed out yet.
Oh, he was. I'll send you the video. He was talking about getting locked in the drunk tank for a night.
Yeah,
he was fully
He
prepared
knew the
for it.
consequences.
He was fully prepared.
King of
for
the
it.
world.
I'm sending you this video at the break.
Everybody wants to be part of the act, don't they?
Yeah. When we come back, we bring on Dave Voloshin, voice of the Tigers, talk about Tigers basketball. They'll be in action on Thursday. We come back with him on Sports 56, 98.5.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Memphis basketball fans, your Tigers play host to East Carolina at home on January 27th at FedEx Forum. Game time is slotted for 8 p.m. This will be our blackout game. Fans are encouraged to wear black. The first 1,000 students at the game will get a special Memphis Ambush Student Section blackout shirt. Speed painter Jessica Haas will be the halftime entertainment. That's January 27th at 8 p.m. Sponsored by Memphis Paints. For tickets, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com today.
The new year means the Start Something New sales event is on, so get ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude, $339 a month or $26,250. And get ready for adventure in 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude, $429 a month. Get Stone Cold Strength in 2021 Dodge Charger XST at $459 a month. And the Muscle Masterpiece 2021 Dodge Challenger GT, $488 a month. Trade up and we'll give you more for your ride at Gossett Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months, 3.99 APR. Must finance with Chrysler Capital, $3,500 down. Renegade MPN 27,951, MSRP 28.5. Cherokee MD 235,765, MSRP 32,090. Charger XSD MH 659,742, MSRP 35,385. Challenger GT MH 66,5256, MSRP 37,475. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling on Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe and Stats with you. Brian Dakes, of course, producing the program. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Questions, comments, concerns about anything we talk about, send them into there. You can also message us on our socials, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and you can find us at sports56whpq.com. Without further ado, let's bring on the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin. You can also listen to him from 10 to 11 on Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Dave, how's it going?
Going well. Nice, beautiful day for almost the end of January, and looking forward to some more basketball. Still basking in the glow from one of the great NFL weekends ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure, Dave. And on Sunday, you were plenty busy, and that was a great comeback to get the Tigers' first win since 2012 at Tulsa, and I thought it proved. You want to make life a little bit easier, make free throws, and don't turn the ball over.
That's been the biggest two things that all the losses have in common, honestly. That and missing players, but turnovers, missed free throws, I mentioned that a week ago. I think I mentioned it the week before that, and that did not happen. And really, Memphis actually had beaten Tulsa in 2013
in the tournament
at the BOK Center in the Conference USA tournament. They just hadn't won in Reynolds. And, I've seen two amazing things at Reynolds. I really have. I watched the Conference USA Memphis win streak, and forgive me, Brett, because I can't remember how many it was. But under John Calipari, we had this incredible run. Mm-hmm. It looked like it was going to come to an end. And they ran this play with under 5 seconds to go, called Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Something John stole from somebody, and it must have been somebody from Arkansas. And they run it, and they run a pick near midcourt, and they got a guy coming from front court back toward the ball. Then you make a diagonal at midcourt. You get the ball there. He comes up the right sideline. It's Antonio Anderson. And Tulsa had this guy who ended up being an NBA player. I think his name was Jerome Jordan. Is that right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Big man.
And Antonio Anderson just goes right over him. He doesn't even try, because I guess he doesn't want to get a foul. He doesn't even try to stop him. And the Tigers go off glass with Anderson, knock it down. They win by a point, and they keep the streak alive. Excuse me. The other was the 40-point loss 2 years ago, where a bunch of really cocky freshmen who had not really lost yet, I think it was one of the first conference games, and they go in there, and they just got shell-shocked. They got beaten up. I don't think they realized how tough physically the AAC was going to be, and they basically gave up in the second half. So I've seen two crazy things in the last few years there.
Sunday was pretty crazy. Down 15 was soul-searching time.
It was. I mean, you're without your three best guys, probably. You got Alo, who, that poor kid, and we've all maligned Alo. I've questioned, taking too many shots or whatever it might be. But Alo has, on his left ankle, a high ankle sprain on the, I think it's the outside, on the inside, a low ankle sprain. He literally has two issues on both the instep and on the outside. One's high, one's low. And can you imagine? And this kid who was wearing a boot after the game, and he's been doing that a bunch, that kid just just basically at 55, 60%, played a whale of a game. I mean, he kept everything steady. He was great. And I'll tell you another guy who many people wonder about is Malcolm Dandridge. Malcolm, who didn't even play in the second half of the game before, Malcolm came out and he was absolutely perfect on the high screen. He did not have illegal picks. He did not do crazy things to get offensive fouls. He stood there. Everything kind of went through him. He did a marvelous job. That opened up stuff down low. Like Earl Timberlake hit 2 big buckets down the stretch where he needs to be, which is on the blocks, because that's really where he's best. And then it allowed Harris. Once you opened up that and there was a danger down low, it opened up Harris, and Harris hit 6 threes, and he's been brilliant. He's shooting 60% from three-point range the last 6 games.
Mm-hmm. How wild has it been to sort of watch him in his return to Memphis and what he's doing? We know what he is as a player. At least we thought we knew what he is as a player. But has his sort of mindset changed in talking to him after games and seeing how he competes?
Absolutely. I think he grew up last year. He went to Iowa State. That might have been a mistake at the time, even though he got to play a lot. That was a terrible experience. They just lost every game. I mean, they won 2 games, but nothing in conference. Zip for the Big 12. And he missed Memphis. He said to us several weeks ago that another reason his dad's health wasn't 100%. So I think all of that has made him grow up. I don't think he's as selfish a player as he used to be. Mm-hmm. I do think he's a terrific offensive player. He's still got his deficiencies on the defensive side, but when you're a little guy, when you're 5'6", 5'7", you don't weigh a lot, that's going to be the case. And so I'm amazed at the maturity level. I think he's a totally different guy.
Thursday night against East Carolina. East Carolina's net ranking, the Tigers' net ranking possibly could even fall with a win Thursday night. But then on Sunday, or then the next Thursday, rather, a week from Thursday, a road trip to Cincinnati, and that sure could improve it. Road and Cincinnati with a 65 net. That's a little better than the Memphis 74. It looks like this is going to be a one-bid league unless somebody won all the way through it at Dickies Arena. But if there's a second bid, it's going to be SMU, Memphis, Cincinnati.
Yes, I agree with that. I still think there will be a second bid because there's enough high net rankings that if a couple of teams started to really win and dominate, like with Houston, that you could probably get one up there.
Number 3 in the country today, Houston.
In the net, you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Just imagine what a home win over them, what that would do for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if anybody else beats them, that'll lower their net eventually. But that could help Cincinnati. That can help SMU. That can help Memphis. How about if Memphis were to get that on the road? And they almost did last year. So the Cincy is going to be interesting because – and I'll get to East Carolina in a minute, but the Cincinnati game, they're throwing out all the stops. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter. They've already picked out a throwback uniform they're going to wear. It's white. It's in script, and I think it says Cincy Cats or something like that. I know Cats is in there. Mm-hmm. So they're really pointing to that game. There's no doubt. And that is a long-running rivalry for the U of M within their own conference. And the East Carolina game, I don't think – you're going to have to worry about anybody overlooking East Carolina.
Right.
Memphis is really upset with the way they lost there. That I'll be shocked if that's not a double-digit win because Memphis is really upset with themselves over that loss.
Yeah, and one thing they need just down the stretch of this season is for guys to get healthy. What have you been hearing about DeAndre Williams, Jalen Duren, Jaden Hardaway, Landers Nolley?
Well, Jalen Duren had a cut on his hand on the outside, and he was cleared to play, and then at the last second, he decided not to play. Because Penny's got a new thing. He's not taking players on the road that won't play. So you may have not noticed, but the guys who are redshirting, Camden, Onu, Jonathan Lawson, they've been going on every road trip. They did not go on this road trip.
Right.
Nor did Nolley or Williams because they weren't going to play. Duren was going to play. And again, he'd been cleared, and then he made the last-second decision not to do it. So I would say he should be ready to go. I cannot tell you about Williams or Nolly, and those two guys are critically important. Williams, I personally think, is the best player of the team. I think the record with him in the lineup is 24-9. I think that proves it. He's your top scorer still by average, and he's your second leading rebounder. And then Nolly is the guy still to this day is taking the most shots. He's taking even more shots than Amani Bates. So you know he's critical to your offense. So you're talking about those two guys really important, especially if they're all on the same page, which I think they've been since the Alabama game. But since that game, they've been missing folks.
Dave, you mentioned the long-standing rivalry over a bunch of different conferences, a bunch of different coaches, a bunch of different arenas for both the Bearcats and the Tigers, Cincinnati and Memphis. That's coming to an end with Cincinnati heading off to the Big 12 with the end of Louisville as a rivalry, kind of at loggerheads right now with Tennessee. Hadn't played Arkansas in a long time. Man, some of our old friends we're not going to see a lot of, are we?
Well, I certainly hope that all the SEC schools in the region that have played Memphis, I think we know the answer on Tennessee. I don't think Rick Barnes will play Penny Hardaway, and that's a shame. But that's the way it is. I think Memphis and Ole Miss will continue to play in hoops. I do think that Arkansas and Musselman and Penny will get that together. I think you'll see that there will be a series with those two schools. I don't know about any of the others. You know, I played Mississippi State. I would play, and you said this years ago. First of all, it's cheaper because you can bus. Mm-hmm. Pretty long bus ride to Fayetteville. We used to fly there anyway. But you can bus if you need to, and your fans can get to the games, and they care about it. They care about the regional game.
Sure do.
You know, Memphis playing Ole Miss, there are enough people in this region that remember that series and that could be Ole Miss fans, too, that are Memphis basketball fans, say.
Sure.
That would care
You're talking
more
to one
about
of them.
going to that game than to the East Carolina game, even if it's a conference game. But the truth of the matter is the region does matter.
It does, Dave, and that's it. Ham and egg $1.50 gasoline. It sure does. At $3.
Yeah, it sure does. Anyway, I hope that occurs. Well, I mean, the bottom line is we're all hoping, and maybe it's a sign, the Dennis Dodd piece that we talked about last week, that the Big 12 is going to go to divisions and they're going to separate Oklahoma and Texas, and so Memphis and Boise or whoever the two are can just squeeze right in, and you're hoping that Memphis is one of them.
And I feel good about that. I really do. Do you? Because we've been there before, and I know we're supposed to say we feel good, but do you really feel good?
I feel antsy. Like I think it's going to happen, but I don't know.
Show
for
me,
sure.
don't tell me.
Yeah. And you know, it just. I guess I'm a Cub fan, right?
Yeah, we've heard it for a long time. I'm ready to see it, man.
Or really, just think about it. The last time Memphis got into that situation where it looked like they'd arrived, they got into the Big East. They got one basketball season with that. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So is real quick before I have to talk to you about your Bears and your Bears fandom. Is there what's the likelihood of a game getting scheduled?
All I can say to you is at least my team stay. You know?
Oh, wow.
Dave, man,
Below
that was
the
off the
belt.
top
That was a good one.
road.
Come on, Dave.
Did you not check the
what's wrong
types?
with
See if
that?
he had the foreign object front?
What did I do wrong? I just said
Dave
I'm going
comes
to
out
talk to you
4-5.
about your Bears fandom. I didn't even throw shade.
Did your buddy Jerry Lawler teach you how to throw fire like that?
I didn't even throw shade, Dave. This is unbelievable.
He was going to take a shot.
No, I wasn't. There is some Bears.
Way to stick up for
today.
yourself, Dave.
It was stick up for what? You know what? I am outraged. This is ridiculous.
It
Dave.
is. Wow.
My
Dave.
God. No, but seriously, what is the likelihood of the Tigers scheduling a game before it's said and done in their time off?
I asked them about that yesterday when we were shooting the Penny Hardaway TV show. They're still trying.
Okay.
You know, there's two things that are hesitant. For a minute there, Memphis started to look like a good team, so it was hard to get some of these other teams to come play you. Now, Memphis is a little hesitant to play until they know they've got a full roster. So I do think, next week is out. I mean, they're going to play Thursday, and then they're going to not play until next Thursday, and hopefully everybody gets healthy by then. You do have that slot between Feb 12 and Feb 20, 8 days, with which you can get a game in. I still think there's a glimmer of hope, but probably that's 50-50, right?
Right.
Because it's so late in the game, you got to find an arena to play. You got to find the right net guy that needs you too, and so it's not easy. I hope it does happen. All right, ask me your bear question.
You know what? They got a new GM, Ryan Poles.
Yeah,
they replace. All they have to do is replace the ACE and Ryan Pace. They can put OLES now. They're both Ryan Pace. But I heard that Jim Caldwell was in the building. At this point, with the way you came after me, I hope they hire Urban Meyer or something like that. You know what, Dave? At this point, I don't even want to ask you the question. But seriously, Jim Caldwell in the building. What would you think about that type of hire?
I would not be over the world on it.
Okay.
That's for sure. This guy, I'm thinking, Kansas City OC, right? When I heard Jim Caldwell, I'm going, really? I'd rather have Jim Harbaugh than Jim Caldwell.
But Harbaugh, I think the Raiders is more in play for him because of his relationship with Mark Davis.
I agree with that. Here's what I want. I want an offensive coach who has a good friend who's a great defensive coordinator, who is a great developer of quarterbacks. I think Justin Fields could really be a special guy, but he's got to have somebody to mentor him and teach him how to be an NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. And that is the most important, I think, ingredient that the new Bear head coach has to have. I have no idea about this guy that, he's the assistant GM at Kansas City.
Right.
You got so many great minds in that organization. How much responsibility did he have? I really don't know, but I'm certainly going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I don't know. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe the Caskies are going to get this right. But they wanted to hire him before they hired the coach. That makes sense to me. But I'm certainly hopeful it's not Jim Caldwell. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, you opened up the wounds with me today. You didn't have to go St. Louis Rams to L.A. You didn't have to do that.
Turned and busted a chair over your head.
You know what? I'm going on Twitter. I'm starting the Mike Singletary as head coach in Chicago trend. We're going to get that going.
Don't embarrass yourself. Please,
My gosh.
I want to bring back Billy Wade, Dave, or Bill Wade.
Hey, I'm upset with St. Louis since they stole the Chicago, whatever the heck they were.
Oh, get over it. Get over it. You'll be all right. I mean,
my
gosh.
They used to play in Comiskey. They competed the Bears. The NFL.
St. Louis,
the Cardinals.
They were.
St. Louis. All St. Louis has at this point is the Cardinals and the Blues. All right, just you don't have to take out. You don't have to be all hateful about it. It's fine.
Hey, I'm just being realistic. You also have a big, empty dome.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Hey.
You know what, Dave? Bye, Dave.
You're going to turn on Jerry Lawler at lunch.
Voice for the Tigers, Dave Voloshin. Dave, you
talk to you in the morning, Dave.
You have a not so good one.
Thank you, Dave. See you.
Oh my gosh,
Man.
Dave! What is that about?
Came out. What do the kids call him these days? Call the bad guy the heel?
Yeah, he was the heel today.
Dave, man.
My gosh. You know what? We got to get to a break. We're a little late for a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about college basketball from last night right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You might not know me, but I'm Zip with the ZipCat construction app.
Why are you collecting leftover construction materials, Zip?
I'm turning it into cash.
That's easy. You can turn leftover materials into cash. Keep it out of dumpsters and help the environment.
That's why they call me Zip, the construction guru. Also, ZipCat app saves you time and money. Lets you describe a job, name your price, and get a job done.
That's smart, Zip. You're amazing.
General contractors, take a few minutes, price a job, and get it done. Download the free ZipCat app in the Apple Store or Google Play. Best tool in your toolbox.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were yelling at another car while driving, let me say it again. You need to calm down. Yelling is just making everyone as stressed out as you are and letting them all know that you definitely aren't trying to save with Progressive Snapshot. And if you did hear it the first time because you weren't yelling at another car, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is where you'll find the most bang for your buck. Take your pick with adventure-ready 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport or highest safety-rated 2022 Eclipse Cross. Ready to ride at $349 a month. And this is not a lease. You own it. Want 31 MPG highway in your SUV? We Gossett with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now $398 a month. Plus, at Gossett Mitsubishi, you always get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So for our best deal, look no further than Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, 3,000 down, 500 loyalty rebate, 500 military rebate, Sport NU 001422, MSRP 27010, Cross NZO 49092, MSRP 27,000, Outlander NZO 53093, MSRP 29615, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2022. Dealer stock only.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy, and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number.
Back rolling on Sports Time. Still trying to recover from Dave coming after me the way he did.
Just a haymaker.
I wish he had a Twitter so we could have a spat back and forth, but he is Twitterless Dave Woloshin. My gosh. He didn't have to do that. Now, into college basketball last night. The game we were off early for, where the tip was at 6 o'clock. Ole Miss rescheduled with Florida. Ole Miss
upset
at home gets a win 70-54. The way Florida's been playing and without Castleton, you sort of knew that Ole Miss could probably pace them last night. But Deshaun Ruffin was really, really good last night. 21 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. Needs to be more consistent until Jarkel Joyner comes back and Jarkel Joyner takes over that role. But as a freshman, Deshaun Ruffin showing a lot of promise.
First part of a brutal week, all at home. Tomorrow night, the Razorbacks, they're playing their best ball of the year, and they're in that first out lingo for a lot of bracketologists. Right now, the Arkansas net 55. That's good for 8th in the SEC. If the SEC is going to get 6 bids, maybe 7. We'll talk a lot with Brent Beard about this, too, coming up in about 7 minutes. And it's going to be played out among Florida, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. I think anybody past that would be Vandy on down. Vandy, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Mizzou, Georgia. They're out, barring a 4 or 5 day run in Tampa. We've seen the 4 before. I don't know if anybody will ever come out of Wednesday to Sunday in any of these tournaments. I guess around the country a couple have. In the Big East way back, somebody came out of Tuesday all the way through Saturday. That's remarkable. But that loss for Michael White, I said signing off last night, one way he could be coaching his alma mater next year, Ole Miss, would be by losing to them this year. And he did. Florida doesn't make changes a lot at basketball coaches. They've had about 5 over 40 years or so.
Right.
They just hadn't done anything under Michael White.
No, you're 100% correct. And it's it's so much promise too, and they'll win big games and sort of rub it in your face, and then they lose just nasty ones. Like last night.
Plenty of budget, plenty of recruits, plenty of arena, basketball practice facility. There's no wish list that Michael White can honestly go in to Scott Strickland and go, Scott, we're not winning because we don't have this. There's not anything.
No. Their budget's huge. They got plenty. But yeah, going into Ole Miss losing by 16 is not a good look for them. I know you're saying they could sort of battle for that 6th bid. I just don't buy it from them. The way they have been this year. I don't see it.
I don't think any of those teams in that mix are very good. I don't think they make any noise. But the SEC is going to get 6 bids.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree there. Now, the big game last night, Texas Tech, number 13 versus number 5, Kansas. Kansas wins 94-91 in double OT. The one thing I noticed about Texas Tech that jumps off the page to me, one, Davion Warren plays for them. I think a lot of Memphis fans wish he was here. But Texas Tech, under Mark Adams, they fight their ass off. I mean, they fight so hard. And I think it has to do with the guys they have on that team, the makeup of that squad. They have a lot of transfers from small schools. Bryson Williams, who had 33 last night from UTEP. Kevin O'Banner.
A bunch of old man basketball. You remember, that's what they have.
You remember Kevin O'Banner from Oral Roberts when they upset Ohio State? He had a great game. He's, obviously from Oral Roberts. Davion Warren from Hampton. They just have a bunch of guys that are willing to scrap at all times. And Mark Adams has done a good job of leading them.
And you go down the stops that Mark Adams has made in his coaching career. When I say people usually have a lot of crummy jobs before they get a good one, he may be the poster person for. He's had every bad job you can think of.
Yeah, and he finally got his break, and right now taking advantage of it.
And he was beloved in Little Rock when he was with Chris Beard there by people around the UALR program.
Mm-hmm. But Texas Tech was down 70-58 in the second half, back half of the second half, and they fought back to 75-75 at the end of regulation. They could have won in the first OT, except Ochai Agbaji is just too good. I mean, that 3 he hit to tie the game at 86 was ridiculous.
Kansas at Fog Allen on Big Monday,
it's tough.
They always win.
It's tough, but Ochai Agbaji, the game he had last night. 37, I know we're talking about 2 OTs, but 37 points, 7 for 12 from 3. I mean, he's got to be the leader in the clubhouse when we're talking about
That's 2 minutes longer than a regulation NBA game.
Mm-hmm. He's got to be leader in the clubhouse for player of the year. Close.
Johnny Davis would like to have a word with you.
No, Johnny Davis, yeah, he's up there. There's no question about it. But there's a lot of guys, but
Auburn's got 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. Auburn's got a player or 2 in national player consideration.
Yeah, but Texas Tech could actually had a chance if their guards would have made shots. Terrence Shannon Jr., their leading scorer, and Kevin McCullough, he's the 3rd leading scorer. They combined for 2 for 21 from the field.
Look out for Johnny Juzang down the stretch of this year, just like last year too.
Down the stretch of the year, he hasn't shown me much so far this year.
It's been a rough season for him.
And been great. That'll do it for hour number 1. We come back for hour number 2. We're going to have a busy one. Brent Beard joins us to talk college football and college basketball. 4:30, we bring on Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian to talk some Grizzlies. You're listening to Sports Time with Game and Stats.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Daria or the Double Daria, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Bellyacres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Bellyacres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Bellyacres.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
The new year means the Start Something New sales event is on, so get ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude, $339 a month or $26,250. And get ready for adventure in 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude, $429 a month. Get stone cold strength in 2021 Dodge Charger XST at $459 a month. And the muscle masterpiece 2021 Dodge Challenger GT, $488 a month. Trade up and we'll give you more for your ride at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months, 3.99 APR. Must finance with Chrysler Capital, $3,500 down. Renegade NPN 27951, MSRP 285. Cherokee MD 235765, MSRP 32090. Charger XSD MH 659742, MSRP 35385. Challenger GT MH 665256, MSRP 37475. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour 2 is upon us on Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Stats, Norsworthy. You can watch us live and message us on our socials, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and you can go to our website, sports56whbq.com. It has our podcast, featured audio, and everything else from every show that we do from 7 to 6. Also, autos and listener lines open, 901-360-8255. Text us questions, comments, concerns about anything we have discussed today. Without further ado, let's bring on our good friend Brent Beard on some college football and college basketball at Brent Beard on Twitter. Brent, how you doing?
Well, the first thing you need to know is that I ate at Jason's Deli yesterday.
Yep.
You're a good man.
I have they pretty well know what I'm going to get, but I get the salmon sandwich, the chicken pot pie soup, which is the next best thing to your team winning a national championship, and the steamed vegetables. So I'm pretty well set, and probably will be back there at some point this week.
Vanilla chocolate or swirl for post meal?
Yeah. They've got these little. I need to find out what they are, but on the salad bar they've got the
muffins.
Yes. The little. It's kind of like German chocolate cake that
I've eaten my weight in them.
And they don't know this, my meal, and then after the meal, instead of the ice cream, being a health-conscious guy that I am, like Brett Norworthy is, I'll get 4 more. So I basically have about 8 of them before I leave the building.
You're calling it good on the complimentary ice cream with the muffins, huh?
That's what I am. I really am.
I like that transference. I like that rationalization. Brent, last night the Florida Gators were in Oxford for to make up a game that was canceled or postponed on December 29th. We just talked about Michael White and his tenure at Florida. They've had 5 coaches since 1980, and one of those was Diamond Don DeVoe for only 1 year there.
That's right.
What are they thinking?
Look, Mike White is on probably fairly thin ice. That may not be a real good analogy right now with winter, but listen, Brett, they won about 3 in a row, and then and I'm not taking anything away from Ole Miss, but they will have one of these games afterwards that they basically sleepwalk through the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it really shows. But truthfully, they are a pretty average basketball team. People forget this, but at one time, Alabama was interested in possibly hiring Mike White too. When he was in,
Louisiana Tech.
When he was in Louisiana, there are a lot of people interested. But at this point, guys, and I'm going to be very curious. They're a lot more patient in Gainesville in basketball than they are football, but I think that patience is running thin.
And then Brett made a good point in the previous segment we just had. The excuse list is not long. They have the budget, they have the recruiting tools, they have the facilities. He's just got to take advantage of them.
Well, it's funny you said that because that was the theme on Twitter earlier today. Is that why does Florida have to settle for mediocrity in basketball? I mean, they're certainly not mediocre in baseball with Kevin O'Sullivan, and in some other sports, they certainly are not going to be mediocre again. I don't think in the next 2 or 3 years with Billy Napier. So that is a decision that they've got to make, and that will be an important one. And look, they've got the facilities. They've got they've got everything you could want to be successful in basketball.
Last Saturday, Auburn wins, vaults to number 1 in the Associated Press poll this week. Now joining Alabama, that briefly in December of 2002 with Mark Gottfried, they were number 1 for a week, but this has staying power with Auburn. Mark Gottfried, everybody knew he didn't, and they didn't. This does. Auburn could be there in New Orleans for one shining moment.
They could be. Now, those guys aren't going to be there for more than a year, but sometimes that's all you need, and they very well may be. They are the most consistent team right now that you could argue in the league. So, I mean, they can do it inside, outside. They can slow you down. They can race horses up and down. And look, they did a really smart thing, and I believe Alabama's considering to do the same thing. Ole Miss has done it too. Is at some point you've got to have a facility that it goes along with what you're trying to do, right? So the building they built in Auburn was perfect, frankly, for basketball. These are by far the 2 best coaches for basketball for Alabama and Auburn in a long time. People may miss this too. Gabe, I'm sure Brent's probably met him. I'm not sure you have, but Sonny Smith, former Auburn basketball coach, after the game, Bruce Pearl said, it made mention about, was it a banner or that they were going to do something to honor Sonny soon, and I think that will be very appropriate.
It sure would be, because that was good times for Auburn with Coach Sonny Smith. They've had others, but this is maybe the most sustainable. Look, he's already been to one Final Four in 2019.
Yeah.
Most people didn't think that was ever possible for Auburn to get to a Final Four. He did. Really had a terrible call down the stretch of that game in the semifinals against UVA, or they play for it all and maybe win it that year.
Yeah, they sure would have. I agree with that. And by the way, you mentioned Sonny Smith. Boy, he and Wimp Sanderson were the former Bama coach, were coaching at the same time, and they were a hoot to see on the court. Great history for the league. The thing Sonny says all the time that I've caught, that a lot of people copy from time to time is, "I don't think I'd have told that."
No.
He has a great sense of humor. Has an unlimited amount of stories that he can tell, but I'll say this: I give the SEC a lot of credit. Now we criticize them, and they deserve it from time to time. But when they made a decision a few years ago to up the ante in basketball, they have done that, and now they are one of the. Some would argue maybe the Big 12 is better. That'll be interesting with the challenge this weekend. But when they decided to improve, they really did it, and have got a tremendous amount of coaches in the league right now.
Yeah, and the recruiting that they're doing, Eric Musselman, Nate Oates, what they're doing in recruiting for next year and years after that is unbelievable. One thing, we talk about Auburn being a possible national championship Final Four team. What about their opponent, though? Kentucky. What do we think about them as a whole? I think this is, you talk about young teams, and John Calipari has struggled at times when it's 4 or 5 freshmen out there. But he seems to have a balance there. Kellen Grady's a senior. Severe Wheeler's a junior. He seems to have the makeup of a Kentucky team who could make a decent run come tournament time.
And they can certainly rebound, can't they? In the middle, they are very good. I mean, look, they had that. What was it, guys? Anywhere from 6 to 10 point lead on Auburn for a good bit of that game. But obviously, Auburn came back, flexed their muscles at that point. Look, a lot of people don't consider it a big deal. I like this Big 12 SEC challenge that's coming up. I think it's good for the league, frankly, and over the last few years, that has been a lot of fun, and it certainly helped with the strength of schedule going into the Big Dance. And look, again, this can be pretty fascinating to see how many teams are in the from the SEC goes. People may not have heard this yet, but the SEC plays in Tampa this year for the SEC tournament. Gabe, you were probably playing then, or maybe just gotten out of the crib. I'm not sure which. Brett and I remember, but boy, Brett, you remember when they played in Tampa? I think it was several years ago now.
Disaster.
Listen, you could have played tennis in there and not hit anybody.
I said last week over these airwaves, this year in Tampa, unless Kentucky's in the building, if they kill the in-house music, you can converse across the court with each other.
You can. Yes. I don't.
There won't be anybody there.
I don't get that. I guess they're throwing Tampa a bone.
Have you seen the tip times? Have you seen the bracket? They've moved everything to accommodate Eastern time, so that normal Thursday noon 2 o'clock game, that's actually 11 and 1:30 now.
Yeah, man. That'll be breakfast with the SEC tournaments, what it amounts to. But look,
with a big side of I don't care for dessert.
Yeah, well, absolutely it is. And frankly, I'll be interested to see how they the PR moves with all that. But that situation. The tournament belongs in Nashville, and hopefully after this, it's where it's going, and it'll be there.
Oh, it is, and it's contractually set for about as far as I can see. Talking college sports, it sure does. Talking college sports with Brent Beard. Brent, I like the challenges. I wish we had a early part of the schedule, a November, December challenge with, say, the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or somebody like that. But if we had a challenge in football, Gabe, I want your answer to this as well. If we had a SEC challenge in football, what's the league you want to see them play?
Oh, I think you probably would have to say the Big Ten with those fans jawing at each other.
Yeah.
That,
no
that
neutrals.
Yeah, that would be fascinating, frankly. And look, I think, I mean, and what you're talking about, Brett, is likely either September or early October. Look, don't you think there'll be a lot of SEC teams will like go play in either the Horseshoe or the Big House? I think they would.
And if you can't do it all in 1 year, do it over the course of 2 or 3 years and encompass that. I know you wouldn't want your entire non-conference. It would just be for one. And I know teams are going to play Wisconsin. Bama's got a thing with Wisconsin coming up, and I think Georgia's got a thing with Ohio State coming up. But, Gabe, who would you like to see SEC football?
I have to say Big Ten. It's the Smash Mouth style. And I feel like we see it in bowl season almost with the Citrus Bowl and the Outback Bowl. I mean, we get those matchups every year.
Yeah, we do, but we also have that checkout factor of for a lot of teams in those games. Mm-hmm. If it's September, there's no checkout.
Yeah, completely
right. Oh yeah. Well, and you also wonder in September how the Big Ten schools would manage the heat, as would the SEC schools if we had expanded playoffs and they were playing the opening round in Michigan, Ohio State. How would they deal with that? I mean, I think they'd be okay. But look, I love the idea. I think that would be, frankly, a lot of fun. It's a very interesting matchups. I mean, that Purdue Tennessee thing this year was quite exciting.
Mm-hmm. And that would be one of the sort of bottom rung matchups in the grand scheme of things. I am curious. That's a good point you make about the playoff. I am curious to see if we do have home games, how that affects. If there's an SEC school that has to travel north to play Penn State, to play Iowa in the winter, that adds a completely different facet to the game.
Well, it'd be fascinating, wouldn't it, to be able to see that? Now, I mean, I think they'd be fine in the cold. I mean, if it's Green Bay cold, like it was the other night, and it's basically a zero, and you can't fill the ball, then that would probably be something different with that too. But at the same time, no, good grief, can you imagine the media hype with the Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan type thing? Ooh.
That would be something. That'd be something. Now, something we haven't really visited about. The NCAA agreed on that new constitution, and Brett and I sort of said our pieces about it. What do you think is going to happen here in the next 6 to 8 months? Do you think that we're going to see huge changes more than the transfer portal and the NIL has brought, or do you think that it's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of threatening, and no actual substantive changes?
I'll go with the latter over the former. I'd love to be able to see some real definitive changes and for them to put some teeth into it. But, I mean, I just don't know. I'm sorry, I'm just skeptical with that, that even with – and I appreciate what they're trying to do in trying to simplify a lot of this and be a lot more efficient with it. But I'm not sure they could be able to do that. But the truth of the matter is, they've got to come up with some hard, fast decisions, guys, over the next year or two as far as the early signing period. Do we keep it in December? Do we get rid of it, or do we move it? As far as some parameters on the transfer portal and on where that's going to be going. They really just, and also obviously some, do they want to put some limitations on the name, image, and likeness stuff too? So if they could come up and make some decisions with these things in an appropriate amount of time, I'd welcome that with open arms.
Are you ready for a Joe Burrow versus Matthew Stafford Super Bowl, all SEC quarterbacks?
Well, I think that, yeah, listen, can't you imagine the SEC on Twitter? Whoa, how that's going to go and how popular that would be. And my stars, listen, just pick a team right now. And this is, and again, Gabe, I mean, to me, and Brett and I have lived this, the thing that's exciting about the league right now are the number of players, and Brett and I never thought we'd see this 20 to 30 years ago, but for quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs and skill position players to come out of a league known for, I'm not going to say necessarily just 3 yards and a cloud of dust, but more conservative offense than we're seeing now is really something refreshing.
Yeah, there's been a transition, though, offensively in the SEC. There's no question about it. I mean, we've come a long way.
It is just more. Well, here's the reality of it. In football right now, guys, and look, I love defense. I'm glad the defense made a little bit of a turn back this year in the playoffs. But we are still playing 7-on-7 football. Is basically what we've done, and we've changed the rules to help the offense and all that goes along with it. We know the pendulum will swing back to a degree at some point, but the as we like to call it, the 7-on-7 football guys right now is on every level of the sport.
And you know what? It's I'm glad you bring that up, because being a O lineman, being a former O lineman, having played the onus, the development of offensive line is just not where it used to be.
Correct.
It just isn't. It's more about kick setting and pass protection than it ever was. The downhill running style has to be taught by a good O-line coach, and if you don't have that in today's day and age, it seems like it's almost extinct to have really good line play. It's something I've noticed over the past 5 to 10 years, just a steady decline every single year.
Well, and that's gotten to swing back, I think, a little bit too. But again, when as we broke down the detail for the playoff teams, those teams had, and all of them had certainly good to elite line of scrimmage play, and it still means something, doesn't it?
Yes, and Georgia won it all with elite line play, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
And really corrected what mistakes were made in that SEC championship game. That arc of improvement from SEC championship game to the rematch against Bama was in the Georgia offensive line.
It was. There's no doubt. And the other thing is, Brett, is they were able to get pressure and make Bryce Young uncomfortable.
Yes, and their defensive line played better against the Bama line than in the SEC game.
And they did. And by the way, guys, I know we're short on time, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that tomorrow is the 39th anniversary of the death of Coach Paul Bear Bryant. That is amazing. It's 1 year away from 40. There are so many people that we know who, like the day when Kennedy was shot and assassinated, will always remember where they were in the circumstances.
It sure was for me.
When they heard of Coach Paul Bear Bryant's death.
It sure was for me, because it just been less than a month that
Yes.
I'm literally out on the field after the game. Couldn't get really close to him. Those big offensive linemen were around him, and his security guards were around him, led by Billy Varner and the Alabama Highway Patrolman. You weren't getting close to him. But I was thinking, just a month ago I was there to see the greatest go out, and then the news, and next year to be 40 years. That was Super Bowl week the year that he passed. That was Super Bowl week between Washington and Miami, and George Lapita has told this story often on these airwaves. He was in Los Angeles and was a really close confidant of Coach Bryant's, got the call, was going out to a media event, and he told Don McNeil and Bob Baumhauer, two Alabama players, and Bob Baumhauer, all 6'4", 285 pounds of him, literally sobbing in George's arms.
Well, I can believe it. Bryant had that kind of effect upon people. I'll be fascinated to see what they do next year for 40 years. In that game, Brett, you may or may not remember this, I bet you do, Was it as cold as it looked on television?
It was very cold, but it was not as cold that night as it was in the 76 game against UCLA. It was colder against UCLA, and it was warmer at the 69 game against Colorado, but
Right.
76 against UCLA was the all timer.
Yeah,
for me. Now the very next year at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in '83, I did not go, but it was the all world record setter for Boston College and Notre Dame. Mike Golick of ESPN fame said it's the single coldest he's ever been in his life anywhere.
I was at the UCLA game too, and I remember. Usually, Gabe, when you've got games like that, as you know, you've got a wind chill that goes along with it. It was just one of those things to where, I don't care how many layers of clothing you had on.
It cuts through
it wasn't enough, was it, Brett?
No. You could have been encased in flames. And it wasn't enough. and unfortunately, for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl itself, the cold weather games came in the 70s.
They did.
Since then, we've only had about 2 or 3 or 4 really brutal, bitter games. And I'm going to say in the last 20, only about 1 or 2, but that's where it kind of got the cold weather reputation, which is really not fair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would agree with that. And the thing is, what's interesting on around that time now, it's getting colder more into January like it is now. I mean, listen, it's cold here. It's going to be 25 here Saturday morning, which is a big deal now. Now, what does that mean? Are y'all going to be 10 or 15 or something like that? But the cold, that's a good point, Brett. The cold, it seems, and is moving on to January, and which is good for bowl games.
He is our man on college football and college basketball, Brent Beard, at Brent Beard on Twitter. Brent, always appreciate it, man.
Me too, guys. Take care. Enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brent. Brent mentioned Jason's Deli, and we've got a couple of great locations: Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. You can wrap it up there with the complimentary free ice cream if you'd like. You can probably have that in-house cheating and go to the muffins like Brent does if you want to. I'm a muffin guy at Jason's Deli. All the food's so good. The service is so good. Over 200 Memphis area associates with this Jason's Deli group. They're trying to make you feel comfortable and part of the family, because that's what they are. That's what they're about. It's a family thing, bringing more people to the table, the low delivery fees, vegetarian, gluten-sensitive options, same-day and last-minute orders welcome. If you're having that big event, you're kind of overcome by it all, let Jason's Deli do all the work. Whether it's 5 or 5,000, they can do it. Check out the most popular choices, or call any of the locations, or go online at jasonsdeli.com, where it's all about choice. Regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, you'll be delighted at Jason's Deli on a cold day and night like this. All those great soups, all those great salads. It warms the soul, and it's good for you. Plenty of organic food to choose from. That salad bar, over 30 items just from the salad bar. Never mind the Mesa chicken salad, or the chicken club salad, or the Big Chef salad. The salad bar with over 30 items right there. Catering anytime, anywhere, and wrap it up with the complimentary ice cream at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Check them out online at jasonsdeli.com.
Grizzlies do not play till tomorrow when they finish their road trip against the Spurs. They'll have a home back-to-back on Friday and Saturday. We are approaching the trade deadline, February 10th. We have Ja Morant on All-Star Starter Watch. We bring on our good friend from the Daily Memphian, Drew Hill, to talk about all that and more next on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It's a brand new year.
And yet still here you are.
And now, I'm not saying that you should make New Year's resolutions.
But if you did, they should all have something to do with Central Barbecue, right?
You think I'm so predictable?
That's because you are.
I could have been about to say anything.
As long as anything by me telling people to go to Central Barbecue.
Well, yeah.
See, predictable. Still, we do love us some Central Barbecue.
Exactly. So people should resolve to spend plenty of time at one of the 4 locations of Central Barbecue this year.
You know what? You're right.
And you said I was predictable.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hey, you're not Pete.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. So good, you gotta try it. With Straight Talk, you can get our Silver Unlimited plan for just $45 a month. Now with unlimited high-speed data, plus 5 gigabytes hotspot data, and no contract, with nationwide 5G on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot for your data when you can get unlimited for a whole lot less? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get in the swing of things. Grab your friends, your clients, your employees, and go enjoy everything you love about Topgolf in a luxury suite while at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Topgolf Swing Suite is an immersive social experience offering guests a luxury private lounge to enjoy Erling Jensen's extraordinary food and beverage service, all while playing a selection of games in a one-of-a-kind simulation day. Topgolf Swing Suites are great for work outings, celebrations, or just getting together. It's fun for the whole family. It's fun for golfers and non-golfers alike. They have more than just golf. They have soccer, baseball, zombie dodgeball, football, and more. Located at 5069 Sainterland, adjacent to the Doubletree East Memphis. Check us out at swingsuitememphis.com or call us at 901-58-SWING. Again, that's 901-58-SWING at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Book your suite today.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Send in questions, comments, concerns on anything we've discussed. There also, you can send them into our socials, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56WHBQ.com. We bring in our good friend, Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian on the Grizzlies beat right now at DrewHill_DM. Drew, how's it going, man?
It's going well. Going well. How are you guys?
We're doing well. Cannot complain. Grizzlies still sort of rolling. They finish up this road trip against the Spurs on Wednesday. And this road trip ended up being a lot harder on Ja Morant than I think he thought it was going to be going into it without Desmond Bane. I knew he probably expected to be without Dylan Brooks. Don't know. He's probably still a couple weeks out. But having not had both of those guys, do you think that there was sort of a learning process for Ja Morant? 13 turnovers the last 2 games. He's had to press a little more and had to learn quickly how to be a consistent main scorer and not have as much help on the floor.
Yeah, I think it says as much about Tyus Jones as it does Ja Morant. I mean, Tyus has clearly been huge for them all year. And losing him as the backup point guard, the minutes without Ja have been pretty ugly so far. So, and it's also different because there's a lot less space for Ja to operate when all of the shooters aren't available to play, particularly Desmond Bane. And at least when Bane was in the lineup, even if there was no Tyus, you would be able to space out the scoring a little bit. But now they really haven't had any other option besides Anthony Melton to run with as that next point guard. And I don't think it's any coincidence that the one game that they've won so far on the road trip out of 3 is the game where DeAnthony played great. So They'll definitely be looking forward to getting some guys back in the next one.
Drew, thank you so much for joining us. It's fun, always fun to visit with you. And what the Grizzlies have accomplished this year and will accomplish before this year ends, and and how it will impact the future. This was a critical year for kind of Memphis Grizzlies Inc. Coming out of COVID, everybody in business, in the world, in sports, and every walk of life, trying to manage coming out of that with what we thought a transcendent star that is now panning out. Looks like it's going to be an all-star starting berth. But also, as we head into these playoffs, if the Grizzlies can be in that 3 seed or even 4 and host that first matchup, we know so many things that the sales office can tie to playoff signage, corporate sponsorship, seats, boxes, suites, all that good stuff. But also this, Drew, I alluded to it earlier. Next year, I'm calling it. When that schedule pops in August, we're going to see Memphis Grizzlies at home on Christmas Day.
That would be awesome.
Right.
That would be pretty awesome. I would love that. I think that the Grizzlies really need to, if they're going to do that, if they're going to get that done, we got to see them win a playoff series first, and we got to see them stay here in this top tier of the West. If they can accomplish that, like, imagine what it would do if you could get an awesome, like, Grizzlies-Warriors playoff series that goes 6 or 7 games. You could easily see them saying, all right, let's do Curry versus Morant on Christmas Day, or, you know, let's do Morant versus
as the 3 o'clock game.
Your star. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it'd be great. And just from a interest standpoint, very clearly they're gaining some momentum here fast because, you know, the crowds are picking up at the games. The interaction between myself and Grizzlies fans has picked up online, and, you know, readership is going up too. So, I mean, all around, it's been a
good
fun
for
year.
business.
I'm with you.
So you talk about winning a playoff series. Who out of the Western Conference teams that could be a potential matchup, whether it's the Mavs, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Lakers, Clippers, who do you think they'd most likely want to see if they want to win a series come playoff time?
I would like to see the Grizzlies play against the Clippers if the Clippers didn't have Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the Clippers still don't have Kawhi, the Grizzlies have really had their number this year, handled them pretty well. Same could be said about the Lakers. You just wonder about the Lakers potentially being able to turn it up at playoff time, and facing LeBron James in a playoff series is not fun. But I would like, I mean, obviously Minnesota's inexperienced in the playoffs. I would take Minnesota if I was Memphis. I don't think that that's very likely. If you made me pick, I would probably pick the Clippers. I think that the Grizzlies would win a playoff series against the Nuggets as well, but I think it'd be a close one. But give me the Clippers with the one caveat that Kawhi Leonard is not playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a big if. I'm not sure what his future holds with that team. But are you getting the sense that he's probably not going to return to the Clippers this year?
I don't know anything about the Clippers as far as like anyone in their front office or whatever, but like I would, based on the way that the last season ended and what we've seen from Kawhi over the course of his career, I can't see Kawhi Leonard rushing back to this Clippers team that just doesn't look like they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I would guess no, but that's just a guess.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think he would want to land? With an all-star team collection?
Oh, man, that's tough. I mean, I don't think he wants to go play like on the other side of L.A. with LeBron.
Wherever he doesn't beef with a medical team, that's where he needs to go.
That's tough. I mean, it just depends on who's got the pieces to be able to maneuver and have him play on a team that can contend right away.
Here's one. Take his talents to South Beach.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he would be a great fit in Miami if they could pull off a move to make that happen. But I think he likes being on the West Coast out there in L.A. I don't know. I mean, could the Warriors, as crazy as it sounds, could they find I don't know. It just all depends on, who can contend for a title right away at this point in his career, and maybe he stays with the Clippers. You never know. But
we know about those kind of deals when that superstar wants to land somewhere. That salary cap, that's just that's cuckoo. That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It doesn't matter. If they want to land them there, they land them there.
Yeah, typically they find a way to get it done, and I would have to imagine that doesn't matter who it is. Like, look at what the Nets have done. The Nets have figured out a way to get it done.
Yeah, although some of the reports about James Harden and his displeasure may sort of blow that up before we've really even gotten to see it get going. I mean, I've barely seen those three on the floor at the same time between Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. Now, we're approaching the trade deadline. What is your sense on Grizzlies' possible moves? I think massive franchise-changing moves are kind of out the door. There's no Jaylen Brown being landed during the trade deadline. Do you think that they'll be active, though?
No Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they'll be active. Literally, the Jarrett Culver contract exists so it can be traded.
Mm-hmm. But for what?
Maybe.
But what's the best outcome in moving a Jarrett Culver contract?
The best outcome in moving a Jarrett Culver contract is maybe, I don't know, you've got maybe $20 million in cap space this summer. You could, take someone else's, bad contract and throw in Culver as a return player to help match the money and get more assets like they've done in the past. Like that is a possibility. I mean, then there's also the possibility of some sort of consolidation trade if you're Memphis, and I don't mean that as far as like players go, but I mean it in terms of you got potentially 3 first-round draft picks this summer, and you don't really need 3 first-round draft picks. Now, the best way for a team like the Grizzlies to build is still through the draft, but you're not really going to have space to add all those players to your roster. So could you package a couple of those draft picks up and get a rotation player that's going to help you, like a guy that can come off the bench and score for you and create a shot? Like, I think that maybe if there's a hole on this team, that could be it. I don't know if that's worth it. Maybe you'll wait until the summer, Right. Then there's also the option of, because we've said the best option is to build through the draft. If you got 3 first-round draft picks, do you have the chance to maybe, if you're happy with where you're at, kick that can down the road a little bit further and just allow yourself to trade 2 or 3 of those first-round draft picks for future first-round draft picks and get rid of that problem for now and still have that good problem later to have, which is, these excess picks. I think all those possibilities are on the table, but I don't expect it to be a highly eventful trade deadline for the Grizzlies, but I would be surprised if they did nothing. Like, if you look at the history of this team, Zach Kleiman's been pretty aggressive, and I think that we'll see something. I just don't know if it's going to be Tyus Jones or Kyle Anderson or any of that, but it might be like picks and back of the rotation type players to get some sort of deal done to, set yourself up a little bit better to win now that the Grizzlies seem to be entering, this stage of their development.
Drew, you mentioned the crowds. They are improving. They have improved. I think there's a lot to that. We got a superstar to go see every night. That's one of the great marketing plans ever in the history of sports, come out and see John Morant. But also, I think, fingers crossed, we've been here a bunch of times, I think we're coming out of Omicron. It might be right into the next great Greek letter variant. I don't know, but it feels like things are loosening up there. If we could get some game nights that it's not bone cold to get in and out of the building, I think crowds really will improve with the balance of the season. Do you?
Yeah, I think so too. And we're getting to the point in the year where these games are going to really start to matter. Not that the early in the season games didn't matter, but just, I can't imagine that Friday's game against the Jazz, which is a very important one, isn't going to have a great crowd. It is, just because that game just feels 10 times more important given where the Grizzlies are in playoff position and what everyone really thinks that this team can become at this point. So, yeah, I do. I think that the crowds will continue to get better as the season goes along. And I hate to say this, but I also wonder how the disappointment of the Tigers season will impact that late in the year, because we know that this isn't a city or it doesn't have a ton of people that have enough income to be going to both games all the time.
True.
But to go to a Grizzlies or a Tigers game, I think right now you're picking the Grizzlies just because you want to go see Ja Morant and you want to see a team that's winning.
Yeah, you want, and also at some point, it will happen at some point in the history of this city where the Tigers and the Grizzlies are good at the same time. I feel like that has just never really been on the table. Last thing for Drew Hill. Drew, what do you think about so we've seen extended minutes from Zaire Williams because of Desmond Bane and Dylan Brooks being out. What have you thought of those minutes? Have you seen growth? Do you like the direction he's heading? Obviously, 10th overall pick in last year's draft.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from Zaire. And this isn't necessarily even in the game minutes, but I get there early before the games and I'll watch Zaire warm up, and the kid will just make three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer, and they all go down, and the shot looks great, and his body isn't even really developed into a pro body yet.
Mm-hmm.
He's still so young, and you can't help but get really excited about what you see from him, because it looks a whole lot better than, for example, what we were watching with Justice Winslow, which is a guy that we really couldn't get healthy. You went and watched his warm-ups. He wasn't making any shots. And then you go watch Zaire Williams. Yeah, I know. Unguarded, he's not making any shots. And then you go watch a guy like Zaire Williams, and you see what he can do in the game. It's not consistent yet. It's not consistent. He's had great games. He's had terrible games. He did a great job of covering Steph Curry when it looked like the Grizzlies had no one to guard Curry. Grizzlies win that game. He played awesome. Everyone starts celebrating him. Then since then, he's had a few bad defensive performances, but that's what you expect from a 20-year-old rookie. And he's got a long way to go, but I've been really encouraged by what I've seen from him so far. And at the very least, the tools are there. The tools are there for him to be a good basketball player. The question is, how long is it going to take, and how does that align with the development of everybody else on the team? I think it sets up pretty well, though, if you're looking at it right now.
He is Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian, at @DrewHill_DM on Twitter. Drew, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you.
You have a good one.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you very much. If you're looking for that new car or truck, I know where you need to be shopping. Going down Highway 78, take that first exit, Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there at All-Star Chevrolet. If you're ready to sell any vehicle today, they're ready to buy it. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch is where you want to be. All the Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes, Blazers, all right there in Olive Branch, and more on the way. Just ask for Kevin or Jeff or Drew or any of the members of the great team at All-Star. They'll show you all the choices that they have and more in the pipeline, and these will go fast. Just try to get down there this week. All-Star Chevy, they've been spot on for us through all the years with the best 21s and 22s that you can imagine, and all the colors you want. Those colors that pop, they have them. 0% financing available right now. Your good credit deserves zero, and you'll get it at All-Star. Go to allstarautogroup.com and look at all the pre-owned and certified pre-owned Chevys, Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans. Go big. Check out the Corvette Stingray. If you want to sell any car or truck and get a check today, remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Collierville, it's not South Haven, it's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
We switch gears. Next segment, we're going to talk some NFL. Have a couple of NFL news headlines to get to before we bring on Bo Marchant at 5 o'clock. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane bring you Sports 56 Grind Time. Brought to you by Poultry Power. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. One week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes the mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale, and you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Witten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to have someone else say it. Because for some reason, when a random person talks about how great something is in a commercial, it's more believable.
I saved with a Progressive Home and Auto bundle.
And there you have it. I mean, I'm not sure why she's more believable than me, but either way, you get the point about the saving. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Hey, Jeff Allen, it's a new year, and that means time to make your customers happy in 2022 at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Happy is easy to do with our great savings. I've got a take your pick that will knock your socks off. How about a 2022 Kia Forte LXS or a 2022 Kia Sportage? Your choice, $199 per month.
Forte's $27.99 due at signing, and Sportage is $34.99 due at signing. Plus, all Gossett Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
Plus, a 2022 Kia Sorento $359, only $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sportage N702 7277, MSRP 25460, Forte 8044 2833, MSRP 21980, Sorrento NGO 990119, MSRP 35340. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 must finance through KMF. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
The gift that just keeps on giving. Antonio Brown. Just the gift that keeps on giving. Today he posted a picture
just
of himself.
Memes.
Of him, yeah, he's had the memes. He made fun of the Bucks being eliminated from the playoffs. But he had a picture of him in a clearly photoshopped in a Ravens uniform. I think John Harbaugh's going to put up with that. We'll see. I don't know if that'll happen. We know his cousin Hollywood Brown is on that team right now, so maybe there's some inside stuff going on that we don't know about. But it is what it is. But the big news with AB is he's going to be on Real Sports with Brian Gumbel tonight with his lawyer, Sean Burston. Now, I saw a quick sort of, I guess, clip of what the interview is going to entail. And they're talking about his, of course, unhinged episode in MetLife, sprinting off the field after being told to leave, yada, 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 took his clothes off, threw him into the crowd. We know the whole story. But during the clip, they're talking about Toradol and how, well, he took Toradol shots. They forced Toradol shots upon him. You know how easy it is to disprove that type of thing where forced on you? You have to sign off as Antonio Brown to say, I want to take this Toradol shot before the game. And also, as if that's not something that's wholly accepted and common, is something interesting to me.
And the documentation on that, almost a lawyer standing there for you to sign. If they're not standing there, they quickly go over that list.
I can say right now, Bryant Gumbel is going to have to lower himself to do this interview because he's usually – it'll probably be a very informative interview. We'll probably hear a lot from Antonio Brown. But, I'll probably watch clips, bits and pieces of it, but this is just –
I'll say it again. Hollywood Brown in Baltimore has played more like Glendale, West Covina Brown than he's played like Hollywood. He's gotten the wrong part of town for L.A. He has not played like Hollywood.
He hasn't, and I think he's been out of position for the most part. He's had to play outside receiver when, in reality, he's a slot guy. And they went and drafted Rashad Bateman trying to do that, but he was hurt the whole year. They've had issues. And also, it comes down to Lamar Jackson getting them the ball. That's what it comes down to.
There's one threat in the passing game for the Ravens, and that's Mark Andrews.
That's Mark Andrews, 100%. Had 107 receptions this year. That's something. That's ridiculous. Speaking of the Ravens, John Harbaugh and the Ravens are nearing an extension. Obviously, career record of 148-96, 9 playoff berths in 14 years. Just missed them this year. One of his misses was this year, but get the extension done because he has done a really good job by the Ravens. He has Super Bowl winner.
He has, and now, really one of the grand, not old, but grand figures of the game, certainly from the coaching front, with the news today of Sean Payton out in New Orleans. Belichick remains number 1 in coaching seniority, Mike Tomlin 2, John Harbaugh 3.
Where was Payton on that?
2. He was 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you go Belichick, Tomlin, Harbaugh, Carroll, Andy Reid.
How much do you think the quarterback struggles and the cap room struggles contributed to Sean Payton saying peace? It really seems like a whole lot.
I think this year, look, without Drew Brees, the fan expectation, they had the defense to do it, couldn't get it fixed at quarterback, and then – again, I'm there for the Ian Book game, and going into that game, I'm telling my friend there in New Orleans, no, he's a big-timer. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. Ian Book's going to show you.
Right.
Gabe, I'm not kidding you. 3rd series, you knew. There's just no way he can compete.
No, he couldn't. They tried.
Being asked to do something he could not do.
They tried. Well, it was the first drive he threw. He threw a pick on the first drive, right? Was it first play?
First play.
Yes, first play he threw a pick. You knew immediately. He had no chance. Poor Ian
Book. And with
Book.
every bad throw the rest of the
position.
night, my friend's telling me, oh, yeah, the Ian Book game. Yeah, you really had this nailed.
So everyone talks about the Saints being in cap trouble with $71 million in the hole. Packers are in some serious cap trouble, too. And with the Aaron Rodgers situation, if they can't re-sign Devontae Adams, and it really looks like they can't because they'd have to franchise tag him, that may piss him off. That may anger him real bad. Yeah, it's looking interesting on Aaron Rodgers. I went and looked at the odds today about where the odds say his next, where he will be next year for his first snap. -110 for the Packers, +150 for the Broncos. So not that long of odds, and then +300 for the Steelers.
I did love Ian Book at Notre Dame. I did.
Yeah, he wasn't bad at Notre Dame. He could figure it out at Notre Dame. But in the NFL, he has no chance, man. He has absolutely no chance. That'll do it for hour number 2. When we come back for hour number 3, we'll bring on Bo Marchant to talk some NFL from collegetopro.com right here on Sports 56, 98.5.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
It's time to call Doug and Colin Brown for your house. Looking to buy or sell a home in Mississippi? Rely on Doug and Colin Brown, $1 Million Realtors at Regency Realty in Mississippi. This father-son combo will help you find your next dream home. With decades of experience, Doug and Colin Brown put honesty, integrity, and clients first. Call Doug and Colin Brown in Mississippi at 901-598-9168. Regency Realty, 901-350-5050.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Some things should just be left to the experts. Sure, you might be able to scramble an egg or make a piece of toast, but do you really think you can throw together a better breakfast than Sunrise on Jefferson? The cooks at Sunrise are the breakfast experts, making perfect breakfast after perfect breakfast, with the freshest ingredients, cooked with care, and cooked with speed. There's simply no better breakfast in Memphis. Go ahead, make some instant grits if you want to, but if you want real breakfast, you want Sunrise.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Bo Marchant joins us to talk the NFL and what a weekend they had last weekend with those blockbuster TV numbers. And this weekend, we'll decide Super Bowl 56 from the NFC and the AFC, with the Rams with the real opportunity to play their last two games of the year, NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl at home. We talked to Bo Marchant after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour each and every day. That's DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. They are very proud and honored to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test-driven, checked out bumper to bumper, head to toe at DeSoto Auto Sales with an unlimited inventory. With every make and every model, and if it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find that special car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you'll be treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. They care about your time. They know we live in a world today that time really matters. That's why you go down to DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. You find the car you want. You test drive it. Credit approved, paperwork completed. You're done in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now, right after work. It's that simple at DeSoto Auto Sales, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. It was blockbuster TV ratings from Saturday and Sunday. To talk about that and the NFL with us, Bo Marchant. Bo, It's the old Jack Buck line. I can't believe what I just saw. That was all day Saturday, and then Sunday was like a freak show.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. When you think of all those games coming down to the final drive, 3 field goals, and then the touchdown in overtime by the Chiefs. Amazing week of football. And if there was one week of football where you decided you were going to do some other things, you definitely missed out, because we're not going to get a Saturday and Sunday like that for probably a long time.
All right, I need hot takes or not hot takes right off the top of this segment. Overtime rule, fair or foul? Or do you have any issues with it, or do you think it should stay as is?
You know what? Josh Allen said it during the post-game press conference. If they would have got the ball first and won the game, Patrick Mahomes would have been being asked the question. I don't mind it. It's a nasty thing, but I believe if the Bills would have got it, they probably would have won the game. I mean, you say, yeah, you know, but we could go on all day. I don't know what the answer is, but nonetheless, it's the rules. Don't let them score.
Right.
That's it. Bo, everybody knows. I mean, they didn't go out there and sneakily do that to Buffalo or get, you know, some faulty rigged coin. It's just the way the coin fell, and it's cruel. And whatever system, and Gabe has been right on all this since the game was coming down to the end. Gabe forewarned on Twitter, boy, here comes the hot take arena on overtime. Look, we all know it. There's no perfect system. If we change it, everybody will complain about the next one.
Yeah, in a game like that, we all know whoever was going to get the ball last probably wins the game. The last couple minutes of that game, the most insane finish I've ever seen, and I've seen some good ones. I thought the Notre Dame-Michigan game, the first game under the lights in Ann Arbor, was one of the craziest finales I'd see, but this tops it. This was unquestionably dynamic in so many avenues, and you know, we even before the overtime, you know, if we're going to complain about that, I mean, 13 seconds. You know, the squib kick, and you know, I mean, there's so many things. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's so many stories before we even get to overtime where you could question certain things. And my wife, you know, we were watching the game. She goes, "Who do you want to win?" And I said, "Well, I picked Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl. So you want to look smart." I go, "But something about the Chiefs." I said, "I just, you know, I'm kind of rooting for the Chiefs." But at the end of the day, I told her, I go, these two guys, Allen and Mahomes, I go, they're special. I go, I don't want to see either one of them lose. And for those guys to play at that caliber and one of them walk away with nothing, it hurts. Again, if you're a fan of one or the other, it hurts too, and you're celebrating a Chiefs fan. But if you love football and just watching the sport, man, you don't want to see anybody walk off a loser, because that was a fantastic game.
I'm with you. And those two guys, as far as young quarterbacks are concerned, are the top of the class. They have separated themselves. But another guy's coming along. In the first game on Saturday, he sort of showed it. Got sacked 9 times, still threw for 348. Led a drive to get 3 on the final possession to win the game. Is Joe Burrow, in your opinion, up there with those guys, having won these 2 playoff games for the Bengals?
I can't put him maybe on the Mahomes level. I still think Mahomes, because one, he has the title.
He has the title, of course, yes.
Super Bowl stuff. Yeah, so, I think he's just that. But listen, I am the biggest Joe Burrow fan you can find. I love Joe Burrow. I think he's fabulous, and he's turning out to be everything that I thought he might be. And again, I always say Paxton Lynch. I love Paxton Lynch, and so I'm not some guru with the mystical ball but he's one of the guys I was really excited about, and he's done everything for a city that's been desperate for a winner for a long time. Cincinnati's in that, you know, rare air, and who knows? They beat them during the regular season. You know, maybe they catch that magic again, and you know, maybe they pull off an upset and get one in Kansas City. You never know. And
Cincinnati tapping into Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor in his young tenure as head coach of the Bengals. And Gabe, yesterday, I owe an apology. We were talking about great Bengal quarterbacks, and I just went to the 2 that went to Super Bowls, Ken Anderson and Boomer Esiason. I think people need to. It was mostly boring. It didn't win a lot, but what Andy Dalton and Carson Palmer did there, I think they should be remembered. Now, Joe Burrow is going to eclipse all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd even throw Jeff Blake in there. He had a couple good seasons.
For sure, throw Jeff Blake in there. You're right, Bo.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Can I tell you guys? I don't want to. I know we're limited on time, but even my first year with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, we're picking teams. I don't know if I've ever told this story. We're picking regions where we're going to scout. And it was the only time I spoke up where I was like, you know what? I know I'm the lowest on the totem pole. I am the bare minimum. I'm the bottom of the barrel, but I am not going to Cincinnati. And they kind of looked at me because I just can't stand driving that far and still staying in the state of Ohio. Me and my wife went down there. We were going to Kentucky for my race, and we stayed in Cincinnati. It is my favorite place on earth right now. So even I am like a closet Bengals fan in a weird way, because every time I see the stadium, I just think about what a fun time we had in the city. And it's a great pulse down there, great atmosphere. The stadium atmosphere is great. So a lot to be excited about for the Bengals. And, they're losing for so long. And, if I would have told you there's a team from Ohio in the AFC Championship game this weekend, maybe 3%, Joe Burrow's family, and maybe Zach Taylor would have said, yeah, it's the Bengals. Everybody else in America would have said it's the Cleveland Browns.
No, I mean, and it's really good on him, like the side story of him being an Ohio guy, being an hour away from home and doing this with the Bengals, being the first guy to win a playoff game since 1990, getting to the AFC. It's awesome. But I know you like Cincinnati. I got to play in that stadium. I'm a big fan of the stadium, right? But you have to admit, Skyline Chili is an abomination to food. I mean, that should never. They gotta retire that stuff. I don't know what people like about Skyline. They put cinnamon and chocolate and chili. What is
I've
that?
never
about?
had it, and I love chili,
Brett.
but I'm the only time I've been to Cincinnati was summertime for baseball, and I don't eat chili in the summertime. So I went to Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse that I love.
That's fine. That's fine. I can deal with that.
Well, you know what? At halftime of the Bengals game, they allow you to make your own Skyline chili. They have everything, all the ingredients, or you can put it on the, make like the hot dog buns out of it. You can make the hot dog. But when you get to the end of the table, and there's like I'm exaggerating here, but when there's like a mountain of cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, about 12 inches
that's
high,
not an exaggeration. It's a mountain.
And you can just grab as much as you want with the tongs and throw it on like your hot dog.
Well, you can make a rock taste good then.
Dude, listen, I had 2 of them, and I was fighting not to go back for more, because I texted them to my wife. I said, man, I could have about 7 of these things, but I need to walk back to my car after this game. So,
all right, my feelings hurt that you didn't text me, because you usually text good press box pictures to me.
I'll have to see if it's still on my phone, and I'll text it to you. Yeah, they definitely had it going on.
If I can put enough cheddar cheese on something, I mean, I think I could eat dog.
Eat a shoe.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's the secret. Just put the cheese on it, and people like it.
Forewarning: if someone ever brings you like a cup of Skyline chili,
give me back.
Just don't even try it, please. Oh gosh, it is one of the most disgusting foods in America.
Bengals? Can they finish this? Can they go into Arrowhead and win?
I think they can. This particular year, among everyone, we've talked about it from week 1. I mean, you see all these games where these weird teams beat great teams, and I think Cincinnati's defense doesn't get enough hype or love, just because it's, you got, Chase, and you got Burrow and Mixon and Higgins and Boyd, and you got so many offensive weapons, we get lost in the shuffle. But there's a reason why they're in the AFC Championship game. I mean, they're valid, and they beat the number 1 seed. Let's not take anything away from the Titans losing that game either. I mean,
on the road,
on the road, and that was a hard fought game. That wasn't some who's the first one to 50 wins, and that was a different type of game than the Bengals are probably used to playing. And they said, hey, you know what, we can man up and play tough. The Chiefs are hot, and we saw last week, but I think we all thought this Chiefs game, you always get a interpretation of what you think the game's going to play out, and that's one of the few times it played out, I think, exactly like we thought it would be, where it's high scoring, Allen and Mahomes take over, and whatever quarterback gets the ball last wins the game. This week, how exhausted are the Chiefs? Are they going to be up for this game?
Right.
Because everybody's talking Allen, Chiefs, Bills. This is the next, Manning and Brady. Nobody's talking about the Bengals, so there's not a lot of pressure on them. I still think the pressure's on. I think Chiefs win, but I would not be shocked next week when we're doing the show if the Bengals are representing the AFC in the Super Bowl.
And my gosh, if Joe Burrow had an O-line that could keep him upright, at least, I mean, my God, 9 sacks, and he's stuck in there the whole game. He is one of the toughest quarterbacks in the NFL already, and there's no question about it. Having to deal with the ACL in year 1, and then it being the most sacked quarterback in year 2 and still leading them to this point. It's unbelievable. Now, Packers 49ers, that ended unbelievably. 49ers don't even score an offensive touchdown. Packers, of course, the special teams comes back and bites them. And I texted Brett right after that game ended, and I said, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers have to own this one. This was seemingly an unlosable game, and they ended up losing.
Insane how that game ended, and for the 49ers to leave Lambeau victorious. Rodgers, another failure at home, and I think that's the incriminating. If you're not a Rodgers fan, where you look at that and said, everything was in your favor. Couldn't have been any colder the favor of Green Bay team with a team coming from the West Coast. And yet you can't move the ball. Special teams, we all know, was horrific. Then the 10 men on at the end of the game, it just adds insult to injury. It's a disappointment. And I think it's one of those games you could, even if we know the outcome, you watch it again and you're like, maybe I'm waking up and this was a dream, because there's no way they lose this game, because it was a prize fight. You beat the opponent, and somehow in the 15th round, when we're about to ring the bell, you get knocked down and the fight's over, and that's what happened to the Packers.
Once again to the Packers, and all right, they have to own it. Let's don't cut it down 50-50. Who's more of the blame on, coach or QB?
I think you got to split it down the middle. But I think as a fan of the game, you look at Rodgers, how he's so special. And Alan Lazard, the third down pass that he missed the throw, and he even commented after the game, you're Aaron Rodgers. You can't mix that throw. He did it, and he's not looked good in this last year against Tampa. I mean, they get the ball three passes inside the 10. He can't complete a pass, and he's just too magical of a quarterback to have those moments on the biggest stage. And as we've come to see, Peyton Manning had to hear about it a little bit, not winning the biggest game on the biggest stage, and that haunted him even from his days in Florida when he was at Tennessee, not beating the Gators. You got to win the biggest games on the biggest stage. He won one. He beat the Steelers 11 years ago. But to that point, when you look at the Packers, Favre, Rodgers, you got a couple Super Bowls, almost 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterback play. That's a failure as an organization and from the quarterbacks.
I mean, a lot of organizations would beg for 2 Super Bowls, especially in that span. But considering what they had, I agree. I mean, it was underachieving, and there's no question about it. Now, next for Aaron Rodgers, though, what do you think is next? I look at the odds, and I just mentioned them in the segment before you came on. Packers, the team that he's going to play on next year. These are the odds for it. Packers -110, Broncos +150, and then would you look at this one? Steelers at +300. What do you think happens with him? Do you think he stays in Green Bay, or do you think he's out of there?
I think he stays. I think he would want to stay. On the flip side, the Packers know the end is coming. If they want to get any return on Aaron Rodgers, you have to move him now. As a franchise, if you're looking ahead towards the future, do you want to give up Rodgers, which probably means you're not going to be able to keep Adams, or Adams is not going to be a very happy camper. But on the flip side, you can basically call the Broncos, any other team in need of a quarterback, get 2 or 3 number 1 picks, because 2022 he's a free agent, or he just leaves and he walks out the building and you get nothing for him. So I think this is where the Packers have a little bit more influence maybe than last year in what Rodgers is going to decide. I think as a franchise, you do hate, the fan base is going to be irate if you move on from Aaron Rodgers. But looking ahead, 2022 rolls around. We know there's friction. We know he's moody. Does he want to stay past that point? Will he stay past that point? So I think that's the way I'm looking at it. Do the Packers say, hey, we can get something for him and build, or we, stick one more and see where this thing goes?
Yeah, and also with him, the rebuilding conversation he had is always, I think that's a little overblown by him. Even if Devontae Adams is gone, Aaron Rodgers, no matter what team he's quarterbacking for, it's not a rebuilding situation. You're competing.
Yeah, and he's the pulse of that team. We saw it when he missed the game against the Chiefs and Jordan Love stepped in. They need him, and they need him bad. I think, like you said, he can throw the ball. He can make that offense prolific. Does Adams help? He sure does, and they're a special connection. But he can make a lot of guys into superstars, and that's what great ones do. This is one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned on the show. There's been so much talk for years that if Aaron Rodgers played for the Patriots, he'd have as many rings as Brady. I don't know if we could say that at this point, so let's flip it. If Tom Brady played for the Packers on all those teams, would he have more titles than Aaron Rodgers if he was a Packer? It's just something to think about.
Yes.
Right?
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's an age-old debate. You had with Barry Sanders had been with the Cowboys instead of Emmitt Smith, and way back to my hero. If Archie Manning had been with the Steelers and Terry Bradshaw had been with the Saints, what would have happened?
Yeah. So I was thinking about that as there's so much Brady and Aaron Rodgers talk, and I was thinking for the longest time, even when we went to cover the Steelers and we went to the Wisconsin game this past year, staying with family, big Wisconsin, 3 hours from Lambeau, breakfast that morning, something was mentioned about Brady, and my uncle was very adamant. He goes, "Well, who's the best quarterback?" And he's like, "Aaron Rodgers." And he wasn't not joking. He believed it, and absent of the titles, if there was going to be somebody that saved his life that played quarterback, he was taking number 12. But hey, other people are going to take
That's why we're fans.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. That's what we live for.
Aaron Rodgers, though, it's interesting, though, because everyone has the Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers debate. There are things that Aaron Rodgers has done on a football field that I've never seen Tom Brady come close to doing. As far as escaping, placing the ball where he should, on the run. But situational
I agree,
football,
but it's the ultimate team sport.
All day, when it comes down to situational football and winning a ball game, Tom Brady delivers every single time. Almost came back against the Rams.
Yeah. I mean, look at the passes Patrick Mahomes made this past week. I mean, the pass where he, threw it to the end zone where he was off balance, and for him to just get his body and contort it to do that, I mean, that's what makes the great ones on another level from the great ones. They're greater than that, and Rodgers is fantastic, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like the Barry Bonds thing. We've seen him during the postseason or regular season, but when he would get into postseason baseball, those numbers would kind of shrink and diminish, and he wasn't that guy at the next level caliber. Then you look at a Derek Jeter, fabulous player all year, and then when the Yankees get into the big time moments, the lights come
Showtime.
on, he shines brightest, and that's what separates the greatest from the great to the great, the great greatest.
Yep. Now, the story of the day, though, is Sean Payton stepping away from the Saints. Where do they go from here? It seems like they are in a hole financially, and quarterback situation's not going to figure itself out anytime soon. It looks like the era of Sean Payton and the Saints flourishing is over.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I even told my buddies. They even texted me because I heard a rumor that this might happen. But it was such a weird thing that you really didn't believe it. But when it kind of started to build up legs, I'm like, wow, this is going to come to fruition. It's going to come true. I don't know. Maybe they stay in-house. Dennis Allen, I think I consider him one of the best, defensive coordinators in the league. Not a lot of hype ever. It's a rebuilding project. And I think even what New Orleans does is I think, and this will be fun to talk about. I think he's looking at that Dallas Cowboys job in a year. Who knows how Mike McCarthy pans out? That's where I don't think the story.
Will Jones give him the autonomy though?
And I think there's a point where Jerry Jones isn't getting any younger. It's a long time since Barry Switzer hoisted the last trophy for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
you got to say, listen, you got to kind of change your ways and allow a real coach. And Mike McCarthy's that guy. Parcells was there, but at the end of the day, I think let's just put it's a possibility that I think it's something we're going to talk about. So
yeah, Cowboys fans ears perked up immediately when they heard Sean Payton was stepping away from the Saints. Though that was all over Twitter.
Sean Payton working with Dak Prescott. Ooh, that's scary.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Sean Payton working with Cooper Rush, the backup, is scary. So
You're right.
It's that good.
Now,
I mean, Ian Book was too tall of a hill to climb for any mere mortal.
Yeah, Ian Book. I mean, I liked him at Notre Dame. He's a good quarterback.
I loved him.
These guys, yeah, and he's so you don't know. He's a rookie. There's so many. Peyton's genius at offense.
We know.
Was what. I mean, that's a lot to take in. No Michael Thomas. It was a beat up team, and then Winston went down. But
he is Bo Marchant at Bo Marchant on Twitter from collegetopro.com. Bo, always appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Hey, stay safe, gentlemen. Talk to you next week.
You too, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bo.
Now, we got to get to a break. When we come back, we discuss what's trending. And there's a whole lot. We have some NFL news, some college football news.
Hall of Fame's done their thing, too. Ooh.
And that's the big one. We have to talk about the Hall of Fame. We'll do that when we come back on Sports 56, 98.5.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior, complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell, because toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Looking for a good deal on ammo? Check out Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville. Right now, 223, 9mm, and 12-gauge buckshot are all on sale. 400 rounds of 223 in sealed Spam cans for $199. 50-round boxes of 9mm full metal jacket for $19.99 a box. 12-gauge buckshot, 15 rounds per box, 8 boxes per case, on sale for $125 per case. Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville. On Instagram at TGG_Tennessee and Facebook at Tactical Guns and Gear. Don't forget to tell them Eli sent you.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
As Brett hinted at before we got to the break, the results are in for the Hall of Fame, and it's not surprising. David Ortiz does get in. Big Papi gets in. First ballot guy. Good for him. But Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling, all left out.
Yeah, and last year after coming a lot closer than he did this year, Curt Schilling told him, take me off, don't vote for me, and they granted his wish. His percentage waned this year, and since his playing career ended, he's about talked himself out of the Hall of Fame. It just makes you wonder if he'd have just gone on a campaign of saying nothing. But should what you say after your career's over, should that keep you out?
Brett,
he had two of the greatest Octobers ever as a pitcher. One of them for something called the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Brett,
whatever that is.
I can't stand Curt Schilling. I mean, I don't know a lot of people that really can stand Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling is a loudmouth.
He's worked at it.
He's an a-hole. He has ripped people off.
He's tried hard.
Business. But he should be in. I don't really understand the discussion here.
The days after the bloody sock game, they would have carried him through the streets of Boston in a Roman chariot. Now he can't walk through the streets of Boston.
Some of this moral high, just because he pissed you off as media members doesn't mean you don't vote him for the Hall of Fame. Just because he angered you, just because he talked bad about you, doesn't mean you don't vote him for the Hall of Fame.
Because his politics is different.
And listen, I understand people can offend you and you can think differently of them. But the Hall of Fame has never been about who is the best person. It never
Not a glee
has.
club.
So I'm amazed by all of this. And as far as the PED guys, there's going to be the voters. You had a feeling there's going to be some guys, probably at least a third, which makes sure you don't get in. Are never going to come around to performance-enhancing drug users. They're just never going to let them in. They think it's unfair. But I think in that conversation, you have to take into account the era they're playing in, what was being done, how was it being policed. Also take into account Bud Selig, the guy who oversaw everything during that time, is in. The Baseball Hall of Fame is a very frustrating process. And to see guys like these, who I don't even necessarily like, get left out, it's frustrating.
Yeah, and for Barry Bonds, look, I know I know the status. I have it for Hank Aaron, and I know the love of Babe Ruth. Maybe across all American sports, Babe Ruth, his name is more synonymous, because when you hear somebody that's excelling in another sport, people talk about it being Ruthian or the Babe Ruth fill in the blank. But Barry Bonds went out and did it, and he went out and did it at a ballpark that night in and night out you hardly can feel your hands. 81 nights a year playing in the Bay Area.
Brett, I don't give – listen, I know he was helped by steroids. That's not a surprise. But I don't give a damn who you are. If you hit 73 home runs in a year, part of that is the talent that you possess.
And playing at Oracle and playing with those dimensions, those winds, that cold.
And not to mention –
half the – and moving from Candlestick, that was no day at the beach.
And also, this is a guy who led the – leads the MLB in walks as far as the historical significance is concerned. Had a great eye. Was just a good batter, even before steroids.
Was a great base runner. Was a great left fielder.
Did he get greedy? Yes. Did
Sure.
he want more fame? Yes. But he's a Hall of Famer. He really is.
But still, bat to ball.
Yes. He had to make contact.
Sticking a ball.
Yes. That's just.
But I am happy
annoying.
for Poppy Ortiz, who very early in his career had some PED stuff around him, mostly absolved from it. And then for me, he turned me into completely loving him with what he did in the 2013 World Series against the Cardinals when he hit 688 for the series, 11 out of 16, made 5 outs. 2 or 3 of those outs were screaming line drives that just happened to be right at a fielder. He was close to batting 1,000 in that series. He could have gone up there with a mop and hit the baseball.
And you're talking about a World Series MVP, ALCS MVP, Silver Slugger 1,000,000 times. I mean, All-Star just about every year.
And turned around the curse.
541 home runs. And not to mention, really beloved figure in Boston, like
on the field to play. I think Pedro gets a lot of credit for turning around the curse. Manny Ramirez gets a lot, but I think the one that was most instrumental was Poppy. And in that 0-4 comeback against the Yankees, everybody remembers the Dave Roberts stealing the base and keeping them alive. Some of the hits he had to make it 3-1, to get it to 3-2 in that series. And then Schilling was so good in that. And now, Poppy Ortiz, the toast of the town, why Kurt Schilling's, the worst person on earth. He can't buy a ticket to a Red Sox game. He's not allowed on Yawkey Way.
Yes. Look, I'm never going to argue. I always think this guy, for the rest of time, the guy should be a Hall of Famer. But I'm never going to like Curt Schilling as a human being. I don't like the guy. Also, that wasn't no blood on his sock. Come on, that was not blood. I'm not buying it.
Well, don't you think that story would be out now? Okay, so if it wasn't blood,
it was ketchup.
If it wasn't blood, somebody would know. Clubby, somebody in the media, and as persona non grata as he is, as reviled as he is by that rabid Boston media, mostly for his politics is why he's that disliked. Don't you think somebody would come out with that story?
People have written stories about it. They don't have the actual facts about it. I'm sorry.
Well, kind of need those.
Yeah, that seems like I don't need facts for it. The facts are, who cares about facts?
But
Brett,
in the days after that, led by, who's the guy that made the big name with himself with the ring, or the mostly basketball guy, but Boston Red Sox lover in the media, Bill Simmons. Man, they would have gone and donated blood for him the day after that. Mm-hmm. And now to just hate him.
Yeah, he is not. But Brett, he is not a likable character.
He's not, but he's still produced on the field. There was no bloody sock in Arizona, and he got the Diamondbacks with Randy Johnson.
Yeah, some of the business dealings he's had over the years. I don't have exact specifics.
Very
but some
shaky.
Of the business dealings,
very shaky,
more than shady.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anyone for not liking Curt Schilling. But do I blame the Hall of Fame voters for keeping out of the Hall of Fame? Yes, that's ridiculous to me. Now it's going to be up to the Veterans Committee, and there's no way they let any of those three in.
Oh, no. And time will pass, and there'll be other stories. High Hardwin, if any of these guys get in first, is it Pete Rose or the PED guys? Somebody gets in. Who is it?
PED guys, I think, would get in first.
Because they didn't sign an agreement agreeing to a lifetime ban.
Right.
And Pete Rose did.
There's a difference to me also when you have the opportunity to fix a game, a win or loss, and you can affect the win or loss by not playing well, not playing the right guys as a manager. I think there's a difference there. I think that is beyond shameful. Yes, PEDs are shameful, but not on the level of a possible.
They didn't throw a game or affect a game. And I don't know that he threw a game either.
No,
his claim, even in his defense now, is he never bet against the Reds. Well, here was the rub then and now. Let's say that in a single year that whatever book he was calling, as soon as the phone rings, his claim was he always bet on the Reds. Well, let's say he did it 161 times, and on the last day of the year, he doesn't bet at all. He doesn't bet against them. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to throw the game.
I'm with you.
But to the book, that is tantamount. That tells the world he hates the Reds today.
They start
that
whispering.
Is effectively betting on them.
Yes, they start whispering to the people in their book, hey, he's not. He's not betting on him
and
today.
It took him forever to drag him along to just saying, indeed, I did. He went 14 years saying everybody was lying, that Bart Giamatti was lying, that Faye Vincent was lying, the FBI handwriting expert was lying, the FBI voice expert was lying, that federal judge John Dowd was lying, and then 14 years later, no, I was really the one lying.
I really have questions about if he'll ever get the benefit of the doubt to get in. It just seems like he won't. And maybe it's a
and he agreed to that.
Maybe
he agreed to lifetime ban.
Do you? And this, I hate to be morbid about it, but I'm gonna. Do you think death changes it with Pete Rose?
I think it does, and I think it should, and that might be the biggest penalty to one of the largest egos that ever existed in Charlie Hustle, is that he doesn't get the serenade while he's living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really wants it. My dad is a old Reds fan, so he's always wanted Pete Rose to get in. And you can't take away what Pete Rose was while playing.
All-time greatest switch hitter ever.
He's
hard-nosed at several different positions. Rookie of the year at second base, and then
never at any point during his career a good guy. Never. Just never really.
All out. One
never.
speed. He wasn't trying to make friends. He was trying to win ball games and beat the hell out of Buddy Harrelson in the playoffs with a big dust-up around second base. He didn't care, but great left fielder, great third baseman at the end of his career, a great first baseman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some of those Reds teams back in the
I
day,
wish
my
he was
God.
in. But how does he go in ahead of the PED crowd?
He won't. I think death will change it with him, but we don't know when that will be, and it's kind of sad that has to be the change of mind for some of the voters and the committee in general.
Have you been to Cincinnati to their ballpark, Great American Ballpark?
Sure have.
Did you go through their museum and Hall of Fame?
Did not get to do that.
It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
There's not. When I say there's not one, there's not a spoken, written, nothing word about number 14, Pete Rose. No memorabilia, no nothing. It's like he never existed.
Yeah.
Now, outside of it's a little flower garden where supposedly the ball landed for the hit that broke Ty Cobb's record, and they have that. But inside, there's no trinket, there's no all-star game collection, there's no bat. And I asked their museum director, I said, why no Pete Rose stuff? And he kind of laughed. He said, well, first of all, it's still – this was the summer of 2005. He said it's still that hard on this city for him to be in such disgrace. And he said as far as memorabilia goes, he said he hawked all this stuff. Nobody has – he said nobody has any.
Yeah, of course. What do you think? What do you think of that stadium, though? You like that stadium?
I liked a lot, but I thought it should be renamed Good American.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that. It looks on. You see it on TV where it's placed right there on the riverfront. You say, okay, it's a nice,
really good,
nice looking place. But you get in there, it's not.
Unfortunately, too much like new Busch Stadium, kind of a cookie cutter to replace the old cookie cutters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just a new shape of the cookie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I actually got to. I traveled around and did at least the NL Central ballparks. Went to Wrigley, got to do all that. So
you've been to New Milwaukee?
Yep.
I've been to County Stadium. I hadn't been to the new one.
They have the best as far as like Polish sausages and brats.
Oh, the brats are the best.
Oh, they do it well there. They do it very well.
I saw Angels Brewers at Old County Stadium.
Really? You remember? Do you have a box score? Did you save a box score from it?
Yeah, it was pretty much a blowout. Yeah. It wasn't close.
Now, switching gears into college football. A couple of notes on one note here on a former Tiger, DeMonte Coxey. He is signed with the Toronto Argonauts, and he's a guy. I mean, after his career at Memphis, there was always everybody. I thought, especially about halfway through, once I had graduated and he became the main sort of target, I figured he was headed for an NFL career. I don't know what transpired his senior year. I know that he opted out about halfway through.
Yeah, I'm surprised jumping out signing that deal.
It took a long time for him to get this deal, and he has worked hard in the meantime trying to get there. But Toronto Argonauts, DeMonte Coxey. Now, Brian Billick, did you see he's back into coaching? Why at his age? Why at his age? He's going to join Herm Edwards at Arizona State as an advisor and an offensive analyst.
Have to have it, man. You know that, Gabe.
Well, I mean, he's got a pretty plush setup at NFL Network.
Great deal.
I don't. Why? What's the point?
With his buddy Herm.
And also
Herm's lucky he didn't lose his job last year.
And also with Herm,
might be head coach come opening day with some NCAA stuff.
With Herm sort of still trying to deal with the NCAA violations through the COVID-19 pandemic and everything else. And also, I know a lot of people take exception to this because with transfer portal, Brett, you've sort of discussed this as well. Alabama picks up another transfer portal addition. Georgia transfer wide receiver Jermaine Burton.
They're rolling in the portal.
And
he said he would. He said he was going to win this too, and he's going to.
He had 497 yards of receiving in 2021. That adds to Eli Ricks and Jahmyr Gibbs from Georgia Tech. Why? I just don't get jumping from a national championship team and going to the team that just won.
And your whole culture you're building has been beating Bama, and he can move that easily.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not going to lash out and say it's the wrong decision. You go to Alabama as a wide receiver, the likelihood of you getting drafted and being a productive guy, especially with Jamison Williams and John Mechie likely out the door, you have a good chance to be a good, productive guy. But I found that very interesting because at Georgia, you have that chance as well. Now, it's about time that we get to Taco Bell Crunch Time. On the other side, we'll do that. We'll wrap up this Tuesday edition of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to have someone else say it. Because for some reason, when a random person talks about how great something is in a commercial, it's more believable.
I saved with a Progressive home and auto bundle.
And there you have it. I mean, I'm not sure why she's more believable than me, but either way, you get the point about the saving. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all-Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip. Also includes Brim's chips, Felicia Suzanne's peppers, a bottle of our barbecue sauce, a bottle of our famous seasoning, some reheating tips, wet naps, cook hats, and you can even throw in a box of Dinstall's Cashew Crunch for the sweet tooth.
And Pat, this ships overnight just like the rest.
Brett, it sure does.
Where do we order this great food?
You can get these boxes by visiting our website. Go to www.hogsfly.com.
In the Alley in Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis since 1948.
Southland Casino is turning spinners into winners. It's the return of Battle Wheels, and this time around, we're giving away up to $375,000 in free play. Earn entries every day. Then each Saturday night in January, 30 finalists take their turn at the prize wheel. Everyone who spins wins. Take the short spin to Southland for your chance to win part of up to $375,000 in free play. See Lucky North Club for details. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help, call 800-522-4700.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
I fantasize about this back in Chicago. Mercy, mercy, need that mercy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is not only did Aaron Rodgers say he's not going to take a whole lot of time in this offseason to make his decision about his future with the Packers. He said it might be a little earlier than he originally thought. He originally said free agency was when he would try to make his decision, which is March 16th. But he says the franchise tag deadline, which would be very, very vital for Devontae Adams' future with the team, could be where he decides to make his decision. And that could be as early as February 22nd, but no later than March 8th. When he was on with Pat McAfee, he said, I'd like to be respectful of the organization. One decision that will be upcoming will obviously be Devontae and his future with the team. There still is this thing called a franchise tag, but I don't think 17 wants the franchise tag.
I learned today that Scott Rowland from the Cardinals and the Phillies and other teams, he's not going in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he should. I never thought I was watching a Hall of Famer when I was watching Scott Rowland play in St. Louis. I don't even think he's the best third baseman in Cardinals history that's not in Cooperstown. I think that should be Kenny Boyer. I don't know that Scott Rowland was better than Terry Pendleton watching him play for the Cardinals.
During his time with the Cardinals, he was outshined by a lot of guys. You had Albert Pujols at that time.
Jim Edmonds.
Adam Wainwright for the tail end of it. I mean,
Chris Carpenter.
He was certainly outshined. I agree with you there. I never watched him at any point. And yes, he had all-star seasons. Yes,
I don't remember the big moment. Do you? The clutch Scott Rowland moment?
Not in the playoffs, at least.
No, not close.
During the season, he had some moments.
Good defensive third baseman, no doubt.
Never in my life thought that he was a Hall of Famer. What I could have done without is Dick Vitale. We know he's going through, cancer treatment and everything
I'm
else.
right there with you.
But he won't appear on TV for the rest of the year.
Rough news.
We know he made a sort of recovery enough to get back to the sideline. It was a very, very emotional sort of thing for him. But he's preparing for surgery to treat dysplasia and ulcerated lesions of the vocal cords. He's not in good health, and obviously prayers out to Dickie V, man. The college basketball community is just not the same without him.
He has been college basketball's biggest ambassador, troubadour, goodwill person for 43 years now, and he vital to ESPN being what it is today. Dick Vitale was there at the beginning, and college basketball, they're going to need a lot of promoters and great promotion of the sport, because not for us here, but I'm afraid it is becoming the niche March Madness, have you bracket in front of you sport, and it hadn't always been like that. He was one of the great promoters of it, and it needs promoting.
Mm-hmm. Also, what I could have done without is the Bleacher Report from Jake Fisher talking about James Harden being unhappy, not enjoying Brooklyn.
No, I hate it.
I guess in Houston, he was a big strip club goer. Do you think maybe the strip joints just aren't up to snuff in Brooklyn?
I don't know. I don't know about the Brooklyn
maybe that's
joints.
the case.
Northern Houston was either.
Brian wants to say something.
You're probably
Brian,
on to something.
You think
when,
I am?
Well, when you think about the layout of New York and the layout of Houston,
Yeah,
you have
it's
more
different.
space to build things.
got
And
you.
so there's more space to use, except New York, everything's closer together. You don't have as much space.
Right, and here's another thing. When you talk about
He
strip
could
joints,
open some if
mask
he wanted to.
mandates,
Yeah,
and everything else.
exactly.
That could probably play something
Catfishing,
into it.
you can't see their face.
He hasn't been able to enjoy himself as much.
You're probably
in
right
the
on
strip
it.
joints.
What is catfishing?
You've never seen the show Catfishing or
No.
Catfish. It's when you make an account on a social media or dating site, and you attract someone to meet up with you,
Right.
and the pictures that you have been showing are not you.
People do that?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the
People
thing.
fall for that?
All the time.
Yep, 100%.
I had a buddy who fell for one.
Oh, really?
So you
can
can-
story time
in
Come
high
on,
school.
Story time.
Well, let's just say there was
In high school.
In
Oh,
high
that's
school,
not great.
well, Snapchat has become a thing, and let's just say, he sent some things that he didn't mean to send.
Yeah.
Or he didn't.
Well, he meant to send them, but he didn't mean to send them to the person he thought he sent them.
Who got
sent
them?
to. A guy in an older grade. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I had to ask what the
Yeah.
catfishing was, and look what happened.
That's what catfishing is for you.
They have a full show about it, Brett.
Yeah.
You know what? Look.
I bet they never heard of our show either.
Usually I hate reality TV. I watched it for a little bit. I'm not
Really?
into it anymore.
I've never watched an episode.
It was new at the time, so I just thought it was interesting. But
What
Gotta
channel?
stay hip.
What channel
it was on
does the
MTV
catfishing
for a
show?
while.
Yep.
No, but it's
See,
on some,
I'm
I
old
think
enough
it's
to
on,
remember when MTV played music.
Oh, how times have changed. Now it's 16 and pregnant.
All right, lunch for y'all. Anywhere y'all want to go, if you can tell me the first video played on MTV.
One of the Beatles.
Oh wow, that's
No.
it's after
No.
that.
No,
The
yeah,
song,
definitely. I
the
don't
song
know.
was "Video Killed the Radio
That's
Star."
what I knew it, but yeah.
You
Didn't
ask
know
me
that
that
one.
again in a year, I'll have it. I'll
Well,
be
in a
ready to
year, it
go.
won't be good for lunch. It'll just be a Coca-Cola, a soft drink in the break room.
What we're looking forward to tonight, AD returning against the Nets tonight, returning to the Lakers lineup, so that should be an interesting one.
9 NBA games tonight. Mavs at
Yep.
Golden State late will be fun.
Yeah.
We're for the Mavs, aren't we?
I would think so. Lakers, Nets,
Yeah.
of course. That's a good one.
Number 3, Arizona at number 7,
That's
a
UCLA
great
at
game.
empty Pauley at 10 o'clock tonight. Arizona says thank you to the LA health officials.
Michigan State visiting Illinois tonight. That'll be on ESPN.
Illinois is down a couple players. So
Yep. So
Number 1, Auburn puts a ranking on the line tonight at Mizzou. Tigers versus Tigers.
But no Grizzlies till tomorrow. No Tigers till Thursday. We'll get back to those
We will.
discussions tomorrow. There's no question about it. That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Dave Waloshin, Brent Beard, Drew Hill, and Beau Marchant for their contributions to the program. For Brett, for Brian, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night. Be safe. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
I'm Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, and I have to really congratulate you, Mallory, who is also with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, for using his hunting skills when it comes to finding homes for his clients.
Thanks, Sheldon. Yes, I get them into their hunting gear